You're listening to M.T.V.B. Podcast. Movies, TV, video and board games. This show may contain swearing.
Welcome to a brand new episode and season of the
M.T.V.B.
podcast, the podcast that talks about my four favorite subjects, that's
movies,
TV shows,
video games,
board games.
And I'm your host, Anthony, as well as most people know me as the Ant-Man, and welcome to season 8, guys. Woo! This season, obviously, we always start with a movie episode. This episode is going to be talking about our top 5 movie directors of all time. I'm joined around the table by a bunch of guys that love to talk about movie directors. Introduce yourselves around the table, please.
H, the man with 2 lists.
Nice.
It's JK47 in the building.
Yeah.
Super Mario.
It's me.
Just Chris.
But he's official member of the M.T.V.B. podcast, so
We need no other.
No other.
exactly. But thank you, guys. Thank you for coming on the episode and back for season 8. So, top 5 movie directors. How was the list for you?
I'm still doing it. Who's going to make the cut?
Damn difficult.
Yeah, I said this earlier. Like, I've got 2 pages of rants. They're not even notes anymore. There's even diagrams and pictures of how I got there. My words.
It's like how you got this right.
Page. Yeah.
like a football game, American football game. You're like,
You knew that algebra would come in handy at some point.
Yeah, smiley face method.
Yeah.
Well, like I said to you before the episode, I think I've been a bit route one about this. It was very, very easy.
coming from the guy that makes 2 lists every episode.
He's got 20 odd categories.
I bet there's 10 of the same person. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Just a different film.
So yeah, with that, we're going to do the normal as always. We're going to do the questions as well as our top 5. So let's start with obviously the first question. Let's go with: do you watch a movie for a favorite director of yours that's always doing it? So without giving it away, if your favorite director comes up with a new movie, you're like, yep, straight away I'm going to go see that movie.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, guilty. 100% guilty. Like, I can't express how one person influenced my watching from his first film onwards. It's really weird as well because he's not even my number 1. But every time his name comes up, I'm like, yeah, that one, watching.
Fair enough.
You lose me at period drama. You know, like...
So if they make a period drama...
She's wearing a penny or some sort of I would be like... I probably wouldn't go to the cinema, or I might wait until people tell me it's good and good and good, but kind of lose me at period dramas.
That's fair enough.
Like boring ones, not like, the slow... I thought 12 Years a Slave was going to be that, but it wasn't, and it turns out to be amazing. So it's sort of like...
You're talking more like the Jane Austen sort of...
Jane Austen.
Pride and Prejudice, all that
Pride
stuff.
and Prejudice.
Yeah.
If they do something like that, then nah.
Too pedestrian.
Too girly.
It's not even that. It's just... I just can't stand the
it never goes anywhere, does it? Like they're always just there having a conversation about who their love interest is, and then you never find out who the love interest is or what they're there for in the first place.
No, and my sister would love it, and that just means I won't.
It was the era when they all died of syphilis very quickly.
Oh yeah.
Deservedly so.
What about you, John?
Well, I've already said, yeah. No, I with me, I've come so far now. I just need to know who the director is, and if it's someone I like, then I'll go watch it, regardless of what it's about.
Nice.
True.
Okay, so when you watch the movie by a specific director, do you go and watch the director's backlog of movies? Okay. So, like, you sat and watched the movie, enjoyed it, first heard of the director, do you go back and look at the rest of their stuff, for example?
So, like their back catalogue.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think the majority of people will do. I'm one of these guys that I will enjoy the film because it's the film. But then, depending on the style or the content, then visit that director if I don't really know a lot about them. You've got your classic directors, you've got your people who you follow that you love. I would be more inclined to sort of investigate somebody new. So if it's somebody that I'd never seen before, never seen their work, love that film, I'd then go off on a tangent and just binge absolutely.
Most definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I'm much the same because there's an awful lot of these Korean directors coming out now, and it's like is it Bong Ho did like Parasite? You know, I mean, when I first saw that, I thought that was really, really good. But so I would look to see have they done any other films, and then I would like to watch them because obviously the one that having watched one and liked it, there's a high chance I'll like more of their stuff. So yeah, but I just find, I mean, with Hollywood now, you kind of like there's a lot of there's the main players. So there's very, very few up and coming new ones that I know of. Anyway, most of the films come out now just by one of the big top directors. So, but with Korea, there's so many different ones, So that's how I'm. I would go back on the back catalogue and then try and see if there's something else that they've done that I would like.
Yeah. What about you guys?
It's kind of gone back on itself, isn't it? You went through a period where it was main directors and their main stars, and then all of a sudden we entered this period where it was indie directors and people you never heard of. And now it's kind of going back to the Hollywood style of famous director with that famous star.
If you look at the indie generation as well, it was, what was his history? Oh yeah, it's a pop video, or he did a rock music video, or he was an M.T.V. director, or he did this, he did like TV, and now he's doing that. And a lot of that was kind of quite cool to go back and look at some of their stuff as well, some of their early stuff. But ideally, it comes to genres with me. So if he's done an action film and I like the action film, I'll go back and watch the back catalogue action films. Every now and again, you kind of get one that's got a name that sounds like it's going to be this superb kind of all shooting, all killing film, and then all of a sudden it's like you said, a period drama, and you're like, oh, that was a mistake, wasn't it? Next.
We've all done that.
Yeah, it just...
But do you find that interesting how they've gone from that genre to something like that, for example? Why they've gone for it? Or are you interested in this spin on it, if you will, sort of thing? Or
I mean, there are films where you kind of see that creep in. And there are directors now that have done stuff recently that you can see, that has influenced their movie style. I think some of them even think of the music before they think of the film, looking at some of it.
Sure.
Chris, what about you, mate? Do you ever go back on the backlogs?
Yes and no, but I'm not on the... I need to go and look back because I would say that I'm a pretty big movie buff. So I've kind of watched everything without realising that it was they're the directors that I like. So I've gone back and I've looked through, and there's one guy who I knew the director, but I didn't realise I liked so many of his films.
Right.
And he's and I've never mentioned his name, so I was like, oh, he's on the list now.
Okay.
So it's kind of like looking at his, and I was like, well, I've done all of his back catalogue, but not realising without going to search for his back catalogue. So...
Isn't it interesting, though? I think I talked about composers, and they have a signature to all their music. Directors are the same. And subconsciously, you've tapped
it's
into
actors as well.
his style.
They kind of sometimes cast the same main
Yeah.
actor, and it kind of gets me... And that does me a lot. So it's like actors and...
There's two of the directors especially that get their cousins involved.
Yeah.
Like they cast their cousins in every film or every TV show that they do, and their cousins are in there. And you can see that's almost like a signature. Actually, three of them now, I think of it.
Ron Howard puts his brother in every film of his, doesn't he? Yeah.
And James Gunn puts his cousin in it.
That's true, yeah, that's right. Sean Gunn, is it?
Sean Gunn, that's it. And then you've got a couple of others as well that put their cousins in it as well. It's like really
and you got,
weird.
was it Adam Sandler in his films? He uses all of his
Same
old
cast, more or less, from school.
Yeah.
And then J.J. Abrams, who I don't think they're related, but that lighting glare, the camera
glare, yeah.
he always puts in every one of
Yeah.
his films and TV shows as well. Like it's the opening scene has always got that camera kind of
It's his
light
thing, isn't it?
But like,
Although I need to find it in MI3. That was like the first big film he did. I can't remember it.
Sounds
in
very
MI3.
Mrs. Brown's Boys, doesn't it?
I never watched that piece of shit anyway, so I wouldn't know.
Because I used to quite.
Oh,
find
I'm
it
Irish. I
quite
need to
funny,
watch it.
Well, no, but it's just that almost his entire family are in that. I mean, his wife and his son and his brother-in-law, and they're all in it. They're all different characters. It's just quite funny how the entire family are all these characters, and they're all playing different people. Like his daughter, his wife plays his daughter, and all this. It's just really weird. When you just saying that now, they always put somebody in. It just reminded me of that. Yeah.
there is a film on my list, or by the director, who I was adamant that I'd seen the film, and I had always said it was rubbish. And then when I was looking at a while ago, unrelated, I was like, it's directed by him. There's no way I've seen that film. That's
Thor
not
2.
the film
Thor
I've seen.
2, yeah?
And then I went back and watched it, and I was like, well, this film's brilliant. So it'll be on the list. But like,
Nice.
so that was kind of I knew then straight back, I had to go back and watch it because it was instantly, there's no way I wouldn't have liked that film, and it can't be the film that I was on about.
Have any of you ever had a situation where you've watched a film by a specific director and someone's gone, well, this guy also made this movie, you should check it out? Have you ever had that sort of thing before? Or?
Yes.
I think we've done it here ourselves, haven't we? We've done like top 5 movies and stuff and things.
I know I've recommended a shit ton of stuff to you.
Exactly,
So.
I was just going to say, exactly. I've had all sorts of recommendations thrown at me. And
I'm always
I've watched
listening with
nearly
a
all
pen
of
and
them, so-
pad. Like, taking notes on the episode.
You listened, didn't you? You're like in the car.
I'll rewind 30 seconds.
mine was a kids' film.
Was it really?
I was watching it with the girls, and the director's name came up, and I was like, "Oh, I really like his stuff."
Right.
And then doing the list, I've discovered, like sitting with the girls, I've been watching other films as well, and that director's come up again, and they're worlds apart. Like the films, the style, everything. They
Okay.
are worlds apart from what they do.
And this is on your list, is it?
This is on my list.
Ooh,
Yeah.
okay.
Both of them, in fact.
Wow.
I have
okay.
noticed from research that a lot of the time directors will start out and they'll play the game, they'll work with the system, they'll go with the studios, and they'll make the films that they have to make the films that they want to make. And it eventually, and you'll arrive at a director that will work with a particular actor or do a particular genre that you like. But yeah, they've originally started out doing some kids films or some sci-fi, but what they really want to make is war films. Or
or a
That's how
kind of
action films, like wrestlers normally start by getting in by doing Disney films or
right,
the
yeah,
Tooth
yeah.
Fairy and those little
get
things
that
to
little
get
bit of credibility.
build a brand, and then they get main.
shot straight to stardom. Like they jump up, don't they?
Yeah.
Right, last question, guys, and this is just a simple yes or no answer on this one. But your favourite directors, their films, are any of these films in your top 10 of all time?
Yes.
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 All of them or just some of them?
A lot of them could be.
A lot of them, yeah.
One. No, it's two films. In
Two films.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Actually.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, one.
Yeah, I'm thinking on the directors I've got in my list. There's at least one film that's in my top 5. I didn't actually. I never thought of it. I never looked at it from that perspective. If you know what I mean.
Let me see.
I was looking to see what films they did.
I'm still surprised we've never done that episode, the top 5 movies of all time.
Yeah.
You've got 10, you've got 2 lists essentially, and only one of them's in your top 10 of all time.
Only the one.
Wow. Okay. I'm super intrigued about this now.
Because it doesn't necessarily. So my top 5, and I think I've been quite open about my top 5 over the course of these podcasts.
Top 10s.
Sorry. I see what you did there.
And on. There we go.
Thank you. But yeah, favourite films doesn't always necessarily mean favourite director.
No.
It just happens to mean that film was brilliant, but then everything else didn't really hit the mark from that director. For me.
And a lot of these are favourite films that I could personally watch any time. They're not films that I would do, oh, you need to watch, or... But there are films that I will always watch. So it's like the amount of times I've watched them and like how easy I could watch them.
Mate, I think you should go first. We don't even need to roll the dice. I think you just need to start.
He's itching, he's getting there.
Getting there.
Right. Does anyone else have anything to throw in? If not, we'll do straight to the top fives. Let's do this then.
It's time for a top 5.
So let's do the normal. Let's all roll the dice. I'll go first. Shut up. 10. There
House
we go.
always wins.
10 to me. 19 to Howard. Oh, go on, John. You need a Hellfire Club to beat that. 18? No,
Oh,
18.
Yeah, I was 18, yeah.
7. Come on, Chris. The Hellfire Club. No, so it goes to Howard, starting clockwise.
Okay.
Right, guys, obviously there are hundreds, maybe even millions of movie directors out there. We're only picking 5, maybe 10. So if we don't do that, bollocks to you. Should have got your own podcast. Number 5.
Number 5.
Howard, over to you. So what are the 2 categories, by the way?
Main category is A, movie directors. Second category is B, movie directors.
Okay.
Simple.
Does it make sense?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Hang on, Cardigan's coming off the shit's getting real
my
now.
God. Oh, Jesus.
Shit's getting real now,
Getting
boys.
hard in here.
He's on the B list.
So the B movie directors, and that's what I shall start with. This is going to be quite brief because putting these lists together was fun, but I couldn't quite ramp it up to the.
Admire
effort
the
that I had.
dedication.
So number 5 on the B movie director list is a film basically it's the film that inspired the choice. The film is called Jurassic Galaxy. The directors are James and John Condillac. Now, Jurassic Galaxy.
Dare I ask?
Lost me.
Are we Star Wars meets dinosaurs?
Yes, basically, yeah. On a
They
shoestring
escape
budget.
in space.
A ship crash lands on a planet inhabited by prehistoric monsters that just so happen to look like Earth dinosaurs.
Dino Riders.
If they'd have done that, that would have been awesome. This film sucked so hard, I cannot.
It made the list.
It made it.
But the directors made the list.
I'll tell you why it made the list. It made the list because literally, and I urge you to watch this piece of shit, because in the last 5 minutes, the very last 5 minutes of this film, I can only assume this was the last 5 minutes was the pitch to the studio to say this is what we want to make, and they'd already filmed it because the last 5 minutes was epic. It was like if you did just watch 5 minutes. The rest of the film didn't need to exist. But yeah, it sucked. And I finished watching it, I thought, I hated that. But I really loved it. I really loved it. And they've not really done anything else. So I'm on the march to find another film of that capacity. But
So the directors are on your list because they pitched well.
yeah, right. So that's it. So because of the last
Sounds
5
about
minutes.
right, yeah.
No, genuinely. And it probably happens more often than you think. But the last 5 minutes of this film, it really impressed me. And I thought, wow, if only the rest of it had gone so well. So for
Jurassic Galaxy.
Remind me
No
not
one's
to
added
watch
to the
that
list,
one.
mate.
But for the purposes of this podcast, I chose them because the directors are James and John Condillac. So if you find anything else by them and you like it, please tell me because I want to know if it.
I think we need.
It sounds like a pseudonym. It sounds like someone didn't want to put their name to it.
Like Alan Smithy.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that needs a commentary corner.
Sounds like a condiment to me.
There could be quite a few on here for.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
So what's on the A
Especially
list,
my
sir?
B movie list number 1. Stanley Kubrick.
Please tell me it's The Room.
What?
I kept trying to think of that
Hell no.
director's name. I kept trying.
Tommy Wiseau, isn't it? Yeah.
I'm going for Stanley Kubrick.
Nice. That very nearly made the list for me.
With these directors, I've listed off, and anybody who is anybody will know a lot of the films by these directors, and I hope they will. But I will name some of them just for the podcast. So, of The Shining fame, Spartacus, Doctor Strangelove, 2001: A Space Odyssey, A Clockwork Orange, and Full Metal Jacket. Now, for me, Kubrick, he nailed it with The Shining.
Yeah.
I'm a big horror fan. I think when you look at directors who... he has only got a really small back catalogue of films, really.
It's not like,
and there's about 2/3 of them that are on that list, and they all hit home. But it was The Shining for me that really opened my eyes to Kubrick. he, much like another director on my list, can take a story or a script or an idea and really make it his own. So regardless of whether or not you know the story, like The Shining, so a Stephen King book, as we well know, he took it and he changed it and he really made it something else completely different. But is there anybody around this table that doesn't like The Shining?
I've never watched it.
I love The Shining.
See, I love The Shining, but I don't understand the horror side of it. Like people say they get scared of it. I don't find it a scary movie. I love the movie, but I don't find it scary.
No, fair enough.
I'm the same. I don't find it scary.
I don't associate like Kubrick with The Shining because I like The Shining, whereas I'm not a fan of Kubrick.
No, that's
I mean,
fair enough.
I like the beginning of Full Metal Jacket, but every other film that you read off there, it's like, I've watched it and I don't. Because everyone told me they're classics. And
you don't like 2001?
I can't stand it.
Oh my God.
I can't stand Clockwork Orange. I can't.
But you cannot mock 2001 for the time it came out. It is a masterpiece of film. And if it wasn't for 2001, there'd be no Star Wars in today.
I get that.
I think, okay, so probably for me, it's the genres that this guy has picked for these particular films. What, even Full Metal Jacket?
I love the beginning of Full Metal Jacket, but it goes soft the boil once they get out of the...
After the training camp.
After the training camp, it loses me. Otherwise, that would be 2 films. But he loses me once they leave.
No, I understand. I get that.
Clockwork Orange is interesting as well, because that's the one that was banned here for so many years, wasn't it?
I had to watch the films to kind of go, no, I'm not a fan of Kubrick. You know, but because I couldn't... Because everyone's telling me they were classics, and I'd never seen them. And I was like... And then everyone I watched, I was watching Clockwork, like, come on, this has got to finish soon. Like, I'm like,
you were like, please make it stop.
Drip feeding that shit into your eyes.
But no, I mean, he's a perfectionist when it comes to me. I mean, like, he was one of those directors that took take after take after take, wasn't it?
And I'm choosing The Shining as the example. So, like with Shelley Duvall, I mean, the story goes, he allegedly put her through hell for everyone
just
to
get the character out,
just to get it, and she apparently walked away from that and never spoke to him ever again, purely because of the experience on that set.
Apparently, she had PTSD as well from that. Like she's recently mentioned it in interviews, like that she's been affected massively by it.
And I think she walked away saying that was horrible, but didn't truly realise exactly what had happened to her until years later. And until speaking out and thinking, oh, hang on a minute, actually, this is royally fucked me up. Yeah, he went for perfection, and it shows in a lot of the films because, like 2001, you know the scene where the guy's jogging around. Do you know how long they filmed that scene from? That one particular scene in one cut. Do you know how long they filmed that for?
No,
I think it was something like 47 minutes of him just running, and they got him just to run and run and run and run just to get however many minutes they used from that.
That's what I mean.
I don't think it's even a minute. I think it's just under that, isn't it?
He made an example of the perfection.
The length of that scene is about how long they would get me running for. If you see, we need to run. Yeah, I'm done. I'm out. Let me just take a breather.
That's it.
But again, 2001 by Arthur C. Clarke. So yeah, he takes stories and he makes them slightly different. He makes them his own, and he's one of those. So very divisive. Yeah, you either like him or you don't. You like the stories or you don't. I like the lengths he went to in order to create those films. And you can sit there and think, The Shining. Everybody goes, what a great film. Some don't like it, some do. And I'm very much like that about other films. They go, this film is fucking amazing. I sat and I watched a particular film and thought it was a pile of dog shit. So, yeah, it can be very much like that. But, yeah, Kubrick, I think...
I don't know if I would have liked him more if I was, if he was bringing out films new. The fact that I had to go back and watch these older films.
I managed to see his last one where he died. Yeah, I was with Charlie. Yeah. That was the first one I saw in the cinema, and then they re-released a bunch of the like Clockwork Orange came back because it was banned, so they brought it back in the cinema.
Well, that was
it. It was banned, and I was like,
And then they brought out the Shining director's cut. So the original cut Stanley brought out was on like a Halloween night in the cinema once, and that was really. It's only like 2 minutes extra, but there's a couple of scenes that are actually that's actually quite fucking creepy sort of thing. Yeah, but yeah. He was literally number 6 on my list. Oh, okay. He was going to be number 5, and then I took it out for something else. But that's a damn good pick, sir.
Yeah, I think so. Like I said, it was a relatively easy list to put together. You look at it and you think, what director should I put on there? But although I wouldn't necessarily instantly watch one of his films, I respect the type of work that he put in
Yeah.
order to get the product.
I can see a lot of Gen Z's going, I don't see the hype in it.
Yeah, more than likely.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
they say that about everything.
Full Metal Jacket was the first film of his that I saw.
Okay.
And that was like my introduction to war films as well, which is an odd kind of stepping on point. And my dad was like well into John Wayne, so I'd seen a lot of kind of that black and white,
Right.
and the John Wayne sort of American wins the day. And what they never showed was like the psychological, the everything that went through it. And that was the first time, Sergeant Pyle or whatever it is, like where he's in the toilet, doing that whole thing.
That's right. Yeah, that was one of.
And
those
he's Kingpin
films
now, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yes, he is.
Right, he is, yeah.
I think that was one of the first things he was in, wasn't it?
Yeah. Anything else on Stanley Kubrick, sir?
No, I think that is all.
Nice. John, what's your number 5?
My number 5 is Steven Spielberg.
Nice. Okay.
I got into Spielberg when
It's high on the list.
Yeah, because I was going, like I say, we went through lots of them. I kept cutting people out and cutting people out. But when I looked at his back catalogue, which was like we were kind of saying earlier, I can't think of a film he's done that I didn't like.
Okay.
And looking at all the films he's done, I've seen them all, and I've enjoyed them all. So, I think but the film that stuck out for me was Empire of the Sun.
Ah, Christian Bale.
Yeah, exactly. Very young Christian. I never realised that until
Christian Bale's a choir boy. Hello, priests.
But he
Patrick Maitland makes all sense now.
Yes.
For some reason, I was thinking that Bruce Willis film, the war film. What's that?
Oh, Tears of the Sun. Tears of the Sun. That's actually a good movie, though. I like that movie.
Yeah, that's not a bad film. But then he'd done Jaws and he'd done E.T. and he had done Close Encounters, and I liked all of those. I saw them in the cinema when they first come out and everything. But Empire of the Sun stood out for me because it was so different to them. This is about a little boy, left behind his parents. A bit like the Home Alone films that have been out now.
Yes, it's exactly like the Home Alone films.
It's like Home Alone, but set during the war with the Japanese in China. And it was having watched,
Are you saying Home Alone got its roots from Empire of the Sun?
Well, hey, you never know, do you? So I didn't want to put him up too. I didn't want to put him like number 1 or number 2. Because there are other directors who I've now put in there who haven't done as many films as him.
Because you've really thought about it. Now but
I've really. He's probably done way more films because he's done quite a lot than my number 1 or my number 2, but. Well, especially my number 2, I suppose. But I kind of enjoyed their films more. I think it's a lot of as you get older, your tastes kind of change.
Sure.
And it's like going through war, like war films and stuff like that. And certain directors are able to put their own spin on it. Some of them are very, very gritty. Some of them, it's more a story, and they kind of embellish it a little bit.
So, what's your favourite of his?
Empire of the Sun.
It is Empire of the Sun.
Yeah,
you're going with that?
Yeah.
I have a Saving Private Ryan. I'm surprised by that.
Yeah.
Because you rant and rave about that all the time, that movie.
I do like Saving Private Ryan.
You picked the choir boy over it. You are Irish, aren't you?
Yeah, well, it's because I picked it because it's just so different to... you look at Saving Private Ryan and then you look at Empire of the Sun. They are so different.
Oh, bloody gory.
No.
Nice. Anything else on Steven Spielberg?
No, that's it, yeah.
Nice. Over to Super Mario. Number 5, sir.
So you two have gone with these classic masters and these amazing kind of directors. I've gone with one that starred in Friends. Jon Favreau.
Oh,
nice.
And
he's the Ultimate Fighting Champion of the world.
Did he do Chef?
He did. That's one.
Chef's
good.
good.
I love Chef.
This is on my list. So the films that I put on my list were the ones of his that I so enjoyed, and it was Jungle Book, Lion King, because they were so different. And he basically taken stories from his childhood and things from his childhood and gone, yeah, I can do this, and I can do this slightly better, but still give it a bit of something. And Jungle Book and Lion King, definitely. Elf. Out of nowhere,
instant classic, wasn't it?
It's not. If you sat there and told a story about it's a grown up pretending to be an elf, but he is an elf and he's not an elf, but he's fine. And if you told that story to anyone, they'd look at you and go, "Sorry, no, out." and it was supposed to be a cartoon to begin with, like a claymation cartoon.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah. But then you've got Iron Man, which is always going to touch my heart because
The start.
Brilliant.
that was it. Iron Man was one of my all-time favourites. But then you've got Cowboys versus Aliens, which is turd. But it's turd.
I forgot he did that.
Yeah, it's got Harrison Ford in it, so I love it.
It has, and it's
That
got
has so much legs. It
and it's
could
got
have.
James Bond.
Yeah,
in
it is.
as well.
That's like
Harrison Ford and Indiana
the
Jones.
combination of the
It's
two is like, that's awesome.
It's another comic book film, but the thing he does is he takes everything that you think is going to be great and he turns it into something you can sit and watch. Now, there are still things that he's done that are just like, meh. And he moves it into TV now. So, like, The Mandalorian's got that kind of thing to it. And the episodes that he's done of that. But he's brought directors into that from his world and from the world around and put them into it. I mean, Bryce Dallas Howard does a couple of
I
episodes.
was literally about to say, do you know some of the best
And-
episodes out of that is by Bryce.
And the late
Dallas.
great Carl Weathers didn't he?
Carl
Yeah,
Weathers,
yeah.
of course. And, like, so with all of that, like, Chef, like we said, I adore that film. His series on Netflix that spun off of that as well, Chef's Story,
food truck.
Chef's
Yeah,
Table, or
yeah,
whatever it was.
yeah, I watched that.
That was so good as well. But he just, it's just something about the films that he does that just kind of, you sit there, you watch them, and Elf is kind of like, you can watch it with everyone.
Yes.
And it gives you that heart, it gives you everything, it gives you the comedy without being grotesque and without being kind of, I say grotesque, but what I mean is like, without kind of being that American Pie sort of comedy that a lot of films try and get a hold of. He does this slapstick, he does...
Without being crude.
Yeah, he does cerebral, he does the whole thing in this thing where the kids get jokes, you get jokes, and yeah, I think he captures something in the way he views things as well.
Right.
And Iron Man especially, like he used artwork from Adi Granov and took it to a studio and went, build me that and you can do the special effects. And so they built him that and they did the special effects for it. And
Oh, no way.
And the fact that he was a comic reader as well and took that. And the same with like the stories of The Lion King and The Jungle Book. Like The Jungle Book he read, he liked it, he made it. The Lion King, he saw it, he could improve on it or thought he could improve on
Yeah.
it, and he did.
Do you know what made those films so great, including Iron Man? Is because they had heart.
Yes, and he does that so well.
Yeah.
Same with Chef.
Yeah, every time I see him on something as well.
That's such a heartwarming story as
Yeah.
well, isn't it, that movie?
And every time I see him in something or on something, he always looks, especially now when he's playing Happy on, whatever Marvel thing they throw at you, he looks so dishevelled and like your uncle that's turned up drunk to a Christmas party. And I just sit there thinking, how can you create something from that? And then he'll say something or do something. You think, that's it. I can see it now. The artistry in the way he is and in his films and the way he acts. And when he talks about these things as well, some of the documentaries on Disney as well, not shilling for Disney, but he does stuff in the background on The Mandalorian and that. And he does a whole diatribe of all the directors in a room. And they're all talking about what they think. And you hear it from him and Dave Filoni, like... This is what we want. We wanted more of this. Nobody was doing it. So to hell with it. We'll do it ourselves and we'll make it our way, the way we want it. And they did. And I liked it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice, man. I didn't expect John Favreau to be on that list, mate.
You wait.
Good pick, sir. Go on, Chris. You've been busting for this. Off you go, mate.
Yeah, I feel bad cutting him. He's been cut. All right.
You've cut Favreau.
Favreau. So, right, my number 5. Yeah, so I only kind of knew this guy from one film, and then it wasn't until I looked through this I come across. I was like, bloody hell! There's a long list here of films that I like, films that I really kind of, which are good, but then there are films that I've just watched so many times. They might not even be the best films, but I've watched so many times. And he is Tony Scott.
Nice.
So I know him from Top Gun, and that's what I kind of always knew him from. And then going through, I was like, oh my God, he did Days of Thunder. Right, he did Unstoppable. Now, I've watched that
His last film, wasn't it?
so many times. Like it's not even...
Why did the train roar in that movie?
I don't know, but I can't tell you how many
It
times
does. You watch it. It roars about 3 times in that movie.
Yeah, it's not even that great, but it's on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it Taking the Pen on 1, 2, 3? I just enjoy that.
Yeah. It was a good remake.
Yeah. Days of Thunder, one of my absolute favourites, Man on Fire,
Yes. Please say the other
good
one of my
old Denzel.
favourites.
True Romance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
one more.
Beverly Hills Cop 2.
No.
Last Boy Scout.
Yes! Fucking love that movie!
Yeah, and then you got Enemy of the State, which is just good.
There are so many good one-liners in that movie. It's unreal.
It's such a great film.
It is.
Yeah.
You take a comedy actor or a writer at the time and then stick him with Bruce Willis, who is in that film.
He's the most depressing fuck in that film, but it works so well with him.
That was him from Moonlighting. Like when he left Moonlighting into Die Hard, from every film from that point, he was.
That was his character, wasn't it?
Yeah, I am. Hard done by dad or whatever. But yeah, Tony Scott.
And then, speaking of Last Boy Scout, did you know that Bruce Willis's character is called Joe Hellenbach, isn't it?
Yeah.
So at the time, the screenwriter was going through a breakup. So he was essentially going through hell and back through this breakup. So that's why the surname to Bruce Willis's character is Hellenbach.
That's good. That's a good thing to know.
And is that why he's a miserable fuck?
That's why he's a miserable fuck. That's exactly why his character and his wife cheats on him in that movie. So there you go.
Yes, yeah.
Sorry, Chris, go back.
So me going, I was like, Man on Fire is it would be in my top 10, maybe in my top 5. But
Man on Fire is fantastic.
yeah, so I was like, I looked at it and then I went, and I was like, bloody hell. All of my kind of favourite go-to films that I could watch at any time, I was like, shit, I really like him.
I always say Denzel should have got the Oscar for Man on Fire, not Training Day. He should have got it for Man on Fire.
Man on Fire.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
by far.
The reason that Man on Fire, it's so, because you got an hour and 10 minutes of him being creasy and doing the shit, and then,
the last 40 minutes is literally the revenge, isn't it?
It's brilliant. Which is why when Taken turned up, I was like, sweet. I got a little diet Man on Fire.
It's your hero, John. Liam Neeson, Irish Leeson.
No, that sort of category, I love that sort of a revenge, a story.
I love
There's
revenge movies. I fucking love.
I think wasn't it really off the back of that he got the Equalizer films as well?
Yeah.
Because he
They're
nailed
good
that.
films. I've seen all 3 of them now. They are.
I've only seen one of those ones, the number 1, but that's why he's not so. I didn't put him on my list because I couldn't really. But I was just going through it. I was like, I would never have gone. Do you know Tony Scott's films? Because I didn't know Tony Scott's films. I knew him from Top Gun, and I know he'd done that, but didn't know he did Days of Thunder. And
and you mentioned True Romance. That's one of the ones I forget he's done. Yeah,
And that was written by Tarantino.
it was the Tarantino film that was never directed by Tarantino.
Film.
And I hate to, while we're doing the director thing, I don't like Tarantino directed films. I like Tarantino written films.
Yes.
I don't like directed by him.
So he's not on the list.
Not on my list.
Didn't make the cut.
So I'm going to wait for one of you to do it, and then I'm just going to sit here in silence.
Yeah, so after that, I was like, because he come out of nowhere, because I had number 5, and I was like, because my list was there for a while, and I was like,
so was Top Gun the first one he did then?
for me, I think
it was his first mainstream.
Mainstream, that's what I meant, yeah.
It was the one that I got, because Top Gun was a film that I always watched with my mum.
Sure.
Because she's a bit of the movie buff, that I always watch movies with her, so that's where I kind of got my love for movies, Saturday night, Sky Movies, you watch the premiere, or, you get your VHS at Christmas, or...
And you have to say you love Top Gun.
I love Top Gun.
There are 2 massive Top Gun fans in this room right now.
Oh, yeah,
More than 2.
More than 2.
More than 2.
I thought you went Mondu then.
I feel the need.
Yes.
I didn't even see the Star Wars connection
completely
until
forgot.
he pointed it out in his episode.
There was a third, yeah.
He's also... Didn't he do...
So Top Gun story. I went to go and see it.
Did you know?
No, not quite. I went to go and see Top Gun at the Aviation Museum. Just when COVID was coming out. And I looked 2 rows behind me, and there's some really strange person with white hair.
Please tell me he wore the leather jacket and sunglasses.
He was wearing a leather jacket.
Yeah.
Riding in on a bike.
Luckily, not the sunglasses, because I would have slapped him because it was dark.
Did you ride in on a bike?
No,
but he did have a theme tune when he walked in.
Had like a little mini
I
speaker.
completely forgot about that. Yeah.
Did Tony Scott do Enemy of the States?
Yes.
Yeah.
Will Smith and John... Is it John Voight?
Gene Hackman.
Gene Hackman.
Which is a brilliant film.
Yeah.
That's a good film, that is.
Oh, which one did John Voight? Because he did a
Yeah, he
scene.
did. John Voight was in it.
Yeah.
John Voight's in it as well,
He was
yeah.
the bad guy.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Yeah. He shot him at the... Is that the one he shoots the senator at the docks?
Spoiler!
Yeah, yeah.
Spoilers! Oh, if you ain't seen it now. He's on the run.
And the very underrated Denzel Washington film, Deja Vu. Do you remember that?
Well, yeah.
See, I didn't put it on there because it's a bit...
it's very under the radar, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
he done it, and then no one actually ever mentions that movie.
No, it's a good point in this, aren't there?
Yeah. So anything else on Tony Scott?
No, I think that's it.
That's it? What was your favourite story out of that lot?
It would be Man on Fire.
It was Man on Fire, wasn't it?
Man
Yeah.
on Fire and Top Gun / Beverly Hills Cop.
So,
amazing.
Ant-Man. So we've talked about Top Gun.
We're doing the commentary corner, aren't we? Yes. There we go. And I'll just sit and listen to you guys.
you can
I'll just sit and listen to you guys.
be there, yeah.
I'll just sit there and talk about all the gay theories in it.
Shit, you're ruining the film.
Get out. Get out of your own house.
All done on that, yeah?
Yes, I'm all done on that.
Right. My number 5 was a choice between 2 French directors. One was going to be very, very close to being in it, was Luc Besson. He did one of my favourite movies of all time, which is Leon, so he was going to go in for that. And obviously his back catalogue I do love as well. But I've gone with the very recent French director, Denis Villeneuve. I knew you were going to pick him. I picked him in that because of the last few movies he's done. The first one he did was a movie called Enemy with Jake Gyllenhaal. I don't know if anyone's seen it. Yeah. If you can explain that ending for me, please comment below. Let me know, because I ain't got a fucking Scooby-Doo on that one. If any of you watch it, please try and explain that to me. Obviously got onto the scene big time with Prisoners. With Hugh Jackman and Jake Gyllenhaal again. Very good thriller, about kids being lost and whatnot. And then Sicario came out. And Sicario is one of those ones that's all about the drug cartel, all in Mexico. And it's shot brilliantly because it's one of those movies where it's tension building. Every scene, even in a random nightclub scene, there's something tension building. Like, you're waiting for it to happen, and it will happen, but it doesn't happen when you think it will happen. And that's what I love about Sicario on that one.
Sicario does something with the colouring as well. So every time it builds to something, it's almost like the yellowing or whatever the colourist is doing, it changes the colour during the film.
That's right, yeah.
It's quite intense.
It is intense, and it's clever because, again, not the average person would spot that. And, how we can go from that and go, right, oh, here we go, now maybe this bit. Obviously, the one after that he did was Arrival. Again, one of my favourite movies of all time. It makes me cry every time I watch it. That's probably why it's in it. It makes me love my kids more when I hate them. And then, obviously, we got the kick-ass sequel that was 35 years in the making, Blade Runner 2049. I love this because it's one of those ones where he could have done his own take on it. It's many years after the original, and he could have done his own spin-off, whereas I think it is a totally identical movie to the first one. Like, if you play them back to back, I wouldn't have spotted any different tone or any different type of direction done differently and everything. He studied Ridley Scott's movie and made it his own, and it's fantastic, and still done his own little spin on it, if you will, sort of thing. Fantastic film. And then obviously the recent films, which was the book that they said could never ever be made onto film, with Dune parts 1 and 2. Time of recording part 2 is not out yet, but part 1 is again done fantastically. He's done his style, but it's also done a way for new audiences to get into this very hard to read universe, and even people that don't like Dune have got into it. And even with like recent board games have done that now, haven't they? Like, people that don't know it have got into it. So I really appreciate him for doing that as well. And I think this man is possibly going to be one of the best sci-fi directors still to come, and still have a long way to go with the next set of films he can do. So I can't deny he had to beat Luc Besson over that one. I can't really say anything else on that. Just looking forward to Dune Part 2, let's put it that way.
I like those movies that you said, but I'd never heard that he'd done those movies. So
that's what I'm saying.
Never put those together. So I was like, the only one I hadn't seen is Blade, but like the rest of them, I was like, I really like those films.
Blade Runner was just like you say. It was colour, like everything about that, the music.
Yeah. Just spot on, wasn't it? Like, if Ridley said he'd done that, but it was actually Denis Villeneuve, I would have gone, all right, fine. I would not know the difference.
There's the computer-generated Sean Young in it as well, isn't there?
That's right, yeah.
And like, he somehow captured her as well. Or her at the time of doing the original Blade Runner, because from that point forward, she kind of goes off the rails massively. Yeah. But like, he captures her in that really well. Like, almost makes her attractive in that film.
This is it.
He does that really well in that.
And it's even with Harrison Ford's Deckard. It just he kept that character, and the way he portrayed it in that is just it's just spot on directing from that.
Something he does in that as well, which is quite amazing, is he makes Harrison Ford's run look believable.
Yes,
because Harrison Ford is like 90 now, isn't he? Or no,
Yeah, he's in his 80s at
he's
least.
80
Yeah,
something,
Late 80s,
and he runs like he'd just broken his leg off for Star Wars. Like he doesn't run very well.
No.
And somehow when those guns are going across that window and he's running and jumps behind like you actually believe he is actually running with some urgency.
He's always run like he's just got off his horse.
Yeah.
I mean, I adore the man. He is my Hollywood father. But yeah, he always looks like he's got both legs.
He's got the same thing that Kurt Russell's got.
Yeah, my Hollywood uncle.
So, so Kurt Russell, do you know why he never runs in a full movie?
No.
Because he's got a damaged knee. So he was a college football graduate.
Yes, he
he
was.
blew out his knee, and in every film when he has to run, he gets an injury, gets shot in the knee.
Or he runs slow.
Or in the Snake Plissken films, he gets shot in the knee.
Yeah, he does.
And he doesn't run anymore from that point forward.
Yeah, I've never
he
seen him
hobbles a
run.
lot. Yeah,
and that's it. And he
I
gets
think that deserves a. I should have done that first.
and he gets strapped up. But
you're right.
But from this point forward, like from I think Star Wars onwards, Harrison Ford. Oh no, it'll be Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Then onwards, he doesn't run very well. He runs like you say, like John Wayne or Tom
I
Selleck.
thought it was just an age thing, but yeah, when you go
No,
back,
yeah.
even as a young man, he was still doing it, wasn't he?
Yeah, hobbling along, but hobbling at speed.
But no, even like but Dave Bautista in that is fantastic, but his short cameo or not. But then you've got Jared Leto, who's an actor everyone hates. How he's done it and
He
forced
nailed
him to
that,
do
though.
it. He nailed it in that movie.
I hate him, but he was really, really good.
Exactly.
At it.
Come on, man.
Yeah, he stole that. The one scene he's in where he's playing blind
Mm.
is just I can't believe it. I actually believe you can't see anything.
Oh,
and that
he's a
you're-
massive douchebag, but he is a very good actor.
Yeah,
I think he's only in like 2 scenes in it, but you just feel it from that direction of it.
yeah,
It's
because he
just-
starts genuine, and by the end of it, he's just seedy and evil, and you believe it.
That's it. Right, that's it. That's my number 5. Let's go to number 4s.
Number 4.
Back to the B-list movie, sir. Is this straight from DVD? These
Straight
lists?
from the
straight from the bargain bin.
Straight from YouTube
The bar.
I'm just going to play the film.
There's got to be a Tommy Wiseau movie in here somewhere.
So this one was added at the request of my partner, and it is the very first B-movie film that she ever saw.
Okay.
I like this film, and it's good. But I was in compiling this. I was simply forced to put it on there, so I can't really talk a lot about this. Let's have a conversation about it. It's The Blob, the 1958 version. Of
The
Blob.
58 version. I love the 80s one, man.
Steve McQueen's version. Yeah. So by Irving S. Ewert Jr. Now, I mean, I think looking at this now, because I did a little bit. I haven't seen the film for many, many years, and I did a bit of online research. It's kind of one of the granddaddies of 50s B movies. Yeah. And the fact that it was remade and it's still included in popular culture today. I think the most recent thing I saw it in was, what was it called? Monsters vs. Aliens?
Monsters vs. Aliens.
Which is a really good film.
really
and because you had the little blobby character in that. But that's exactly who he was based on. I'm including it simply because it was a request. But when you look back and you think, do you know what? Yeah, along with Universal Monsters, which I love also, this left its mark on popular culture, and that is down to the director.
It was how to make jam scary.
Yeah, definitely. But like you say, the 50s and 60s, it was very high, very sci-fi.
It was
orientated films. Irradiated ants and fucking God knows.
But you think about it.
But like you say, you look back now and you can see elements of them in today's films.
Any film you watch now that has a horror or a sci-fi element to it was born in the 50s or the 60s from an original.
100%.
I mean, you could technically say, well, for me anyway, like, is it Slimer from Ghostbusters?
Yeah.
He'd be kind of a nod back to the Blob, wouldn't he?
He would be, exactly, and that's what I mean. So when I was looking at this, I thought, you know what? Yeah, it does deserve to be there, and it could only have come from the direction of the guy. I know this is going to sound a bit. Yeah, it's a bit of a pathetic statement, but if he hadn't have made it the way he made it, we wouldn't have a lot of what we have today with a lot of modern science fiction and horror. I know it sounds a bit of a simple statement. So that's why I'm putting him on that list. A, I was bullied into it, but B, I thought, yeah.
But you've also had like recent directors gone back and look at that and taken inspiration from it.
Yeah, they have. And the fact that you've just said that you like the 1988 version.
Yeah. Is that on there?
No.
Have you seen that version though?
I didn't know
Yeah,
that
It's
was
yeah,
literally the
years ago,
58
yeah.
version, but with the effects of the thing. It's friggin' awesome.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and in colour. Yeah.
Yeah, true.
So the only little fact out I can give about this film, I can't tell you a lot about the director, was that it was originally meant to be called something like Alien Space Meteorite Monster.
Sounds like John's mum.
And somebody on the film just kept referring to it as the Blob, so that's what they called it. They called it.
Jeez, mum.
Jesus Christ!
So what's the A-list picture?
Right, yeah. Moving on. The A movie director is Terry Gilliam.
Oh,
Very
nice.
very nice. Yeah.
My very first Terry Gilliam film I watched was Time Bandits.
Same. Absolute same.
Channel 4 of a
Yes.
Sunday afternoon. it was.
Absolutely.
Handmade films, George Harrison. Yeah. Time Bandits.
Yeah.
Monty Python actors, Monty Python humour. Yeah. It was weird. It was wonderful. I mean, what a film. From then on, I revisited some of the Monty Python, so specifically Holy Grail, which is the one that he did. He did a film called The Adventures of Baron Munchausen.
Baron Munchausen, yes.
Munchausen, which I'm glad you all said that because nobody I know on the face of this planet knows about
I
it.
always thought that was the sequel to Time Bandits.
Do you know
And
what?
it was,
I think
'cause it's the same sort of style.
Absolutely,
It is.
yeah.
Yeah, same fantasy element to it. It could have, if you'd have said it existed in the same universe, I'd believe you. Baron Munchausen, yeah, I'm so glad you said that.
That's John Hurt, isn't it? Baron Munchausen.
No, it was John Neville.
John Neville,
This guy
sorry,
called John
yes,
Neville, yeah. The Fisher King with Robin Williams.
Yes.
That is such a great film.
Another great
And Jeff
film.
Bridges, isn't it?
Jeff Bridges.
Jeff Bridges.
Yeah. 12 Monkeys.
I love 12 Monkeys.
What can we say about 12 Monkeys? Yeah.
The TV show
such
was
a-
rubbish.
The TV show was
Such a great
rubbish, it
time
was.
travel movie.
It was, yeah, and laid down a lot of law for what we now accept as the way forward for time traveling TV and movie.
And also, if Brad Pitt ever gets dementia, that's
yeah.
pretty much the character he will become.
He was nominated for an Oscar for that role as well. It's unreal.
I haven't watched that since it confused the fuck out of me as a kid.
If you go back and watch it now, because I went back and watched it recently.
It confused me that bad. I was like,
It makes perfect sense. Well, apparently, he never took any money for that.
Woohoo.
Brad Pitt.
No.
Never took money for it. Yeah, and he got. I think it's a bit much like Alec Guinness took royalties.
He wanted to do it. He wanted to work with Gillingham.
Yeah.
and that was his only opportunity.
Yeah, because Bruce Willis was in it as well. So yeah, I think it was the fact that you had all of these elements, and he's like, yeah, I'll do that. Fuck it. Wow. Do absolutely nothing. Jabberwocky.
Oh yeah.
I've never seen Jabberwocky.
You've never seen Jabberwocky. It's weird as hell. It's weird as hell. But if you took Time Bandits, Munchausen, Holy Grail, rolled it all into one, you'd get Jabberwocky.
Right, okay.
Oh, it's fucking weird, but it's brilliant. Yeah.
Medieval nonsense, but funny.
Now, one of my most favourite films of all time, not quite in the top 5, is Fear and Loathing.
Oh, yes. I love
Based
that
on
movie.
a guy's true life story, isn't it?
Yeah. His effects of drugs, isn't it? So he wrote down, didn't he?
What was his name?
I'm going to let you try and
Thompson
remember.
something, isn't it? Yeah.
Hunter S. Thompson.
Hunter S. Thompson, there you go.
It's got Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt, I'll start again, shall I? That's right.
Johnny Depp.
Yeah, but Johnny Depp in probably one of his best roles I think I've ever seen him in. The first time I watched that film, I was like, what the bloody hell?
I think that character's better than his Jack Sparrow.
There's a scene, he takes a little bit too much of something, and his attorney, I guess the advice of his attorney, he says, no, you took too much, man, too much. But he's sat there and he's literally buzzing off his tits. Yeah. But you can see the genesis of Jack Sparrow in this little portrayal.
Beautiful fucking titties.
I love it. There's a bit where his attorney, his Dr. Gonzo, is in the bath. He's going, you stink. Wash your shorts. Wash your shorts. But yeah, he's buzzing off his tits and he's going. But you can see Jack Sparrow in that voice. But yeah, so purely because of these films, I absolutely love Terry Gilliam.
Do you know Benicio del Toro to this day says that's his favourite film of his? Till to this day,
I believe
he
it.
absolutely loves that movie.
It. It was mad.
He's been that character ever since.
Yeah, pretty much. Iron Man.
Yeah, many elements. So yeah, out of all of Gilliam's films, it's Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Is your favourite one?
It's my favourite. But going back to things like Time Bandits, which I watched when I was very, very wee, as we probably all did, and it was such a fantastic concept, and it was done in such a weird way, and a lot of the vision and the what's the word I'm looking for? The style, the look of it.
I think without that, you wouldn't get Labyrinth.
No, you wouldn't get Labyrinth. No, you wouldn't.
Because that is such a great kind of move on to.
Yeah, agreed. You wouldn't. And I'm trying to think of some other.
Or Willow. Because they're all midgets.
Well, they used a lot of the actors who were in Star Wars as
absolutely,
for time bonus, and that's it. It's just the silly humour. So yeah, especially with something like time bonus, you ask what is it about it? I think it's everything really.
Yeah, nice, good pick.
All elements.
And he was originally going to do the Watchmen film, wasn't he?
Yeah. Can you imagine what sort of film that would have been?
Jesus,
I think
I was so intrigued for that.
I have a very tiny soft spot for Watchmen. Mm-hmm. I love the graphic novel, so I liked the film.
Watchmen is one of my all-time favourite books. And the film is not my all-time favourite film. I think the ending needed much. But did you watch the Watchmen series?
No. Before.
Yes, I did. That's good.
And what it does is it kind of acknowledges the film, but ignores the film in that it goes, there is the giant squid monster. The giant squid monster did happen.
That's right.
Which you never get at the end of that film.
No.
And I remember watching the film and going, there are scenes in that with Rorschach and bits and pieces which come straight out of the book. And I was like, that's what I wanted to see.
Panel for panel.
I wanted to see, I wanted to see that. And I got that in the film. But Watchmen, Watchmen. If he'd done Watchmen, that would not be the film.
This would be a different world.
Oh, no chance.
A completely different world. People would have loved Watchmen.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good film, but yeah, it would have been
nice.
Up with the gods.
Anything else on Terry?
No, I shall shut up now.
All right, go on then, John. Your number 4, sir.
My number 4 is James Cameron.
Nice.
Right.
I like his style. I like most. Like I say, I've seen all of his films. Again, I don't think there's a film that he's done that I haven't liked. And my favourite of all the films he's done for me is The Abyss.
Nice.
And I mean, that's coming in 4K soon. The rumour is...
Well, not in this country anyway.
Well, no, this is the thing.
Fucking animal people.
I know. And it's such a small scene. They could easily cut it if they wanted to. Why stop the whole film? Fucking hell. But, I like his style of films. And he's one of those directors, if a film's coming out and I find that James Cameron done it, that's all I need to know, basically. I'll go to the cinema and watch it regardless. I mean, obviously, I want to know more about it, but I'm not too fussed about. Will I like it? Will I like it? I'm pretty sure I'll like it if James Cameron's done it.
Apart from Titanic, fuck that shit.
There was room on the door. I don't care what anyone says. There was room on that door.
Kate Winslet,
Leo deserved to drown, but there's room on the door.
She viciously murdered our man DiCaprio. You know?
I know. Yeah, totally agree.
I'm going to stick up for Titanic here.
No.
A table divided.
No, please. Go into it.
I get the sense of that little bit bullshit, but I've always been fascinated with the Titanic story. Basically, I've watched pretty much every sort of Titanic B movie. It all goes down the same way, you know.
The boat fucking sinks.
So, I mean, the thing is, I like DiCaprio as an actor anyway. So, like, for me, the whole film, it does it well. Like, I have no issue with that little love scene. Like, I think it's a great, right? It would be on a list if we did that. But, like, it's like, I think it's a great film.
So I'm not a fan of DiCaprio at all. There is one film of his that I think he did really, really well, and it's one of his early films.
Basketball Dice.
No, What's Eating Gilbert Grape?
Oh, yeah.
And
yes.
on that, he plays what's he got? He's got Asperger's. Yeah. And he's so good in that, in what he does, his mannerisms, everything.
He's Johnny Depp's little brother in there, isn't he?
He is, yeah. But every other film I've seen since then, I've never been that impressed with. And
not even Critters 3?
Not even Critters 3.
His first ever movie.
I don't even remember him being in it.
Do you not remember?
No. I remember watching all of them and like going, this is a real like adult version of Gremlins, like a knockoff of Gremlins. It wasn't. It was more than that.
They were the original Minions, weren't they?
Yeah, they were. Yeah. Only a little more violent.
Yeah, the Titanic bit, like the door bit doesn't do me. It's the end bit where she's selfish enough to just either throw the necklace over instead of just giving it to the guy who's just told it, like, this is what I'm looking for my whole fucking life. Or the fact that she's not going to bother talking about, she's just talking about one night shag that she had 80 years ago while her family, the rest of them all died over here.
And he drew a cartoon of her.
Yeah, you know, it's like, fuck me, like, how good was he?
But it's like, I mean, the lengths that Cameron went to make that film, you know,
just The Abyss was like
I think
a
it's brilliant.
very,
but
very
this
tough
is a guy,
shoot to do, wasn't it?
This is a guy that he went in a submersible down to the Marianas Trench, which is like 30,000 feet under the sea,
Deepest point.
And
below
I mean,
the
there's
sea,
no other like director that's done anything like that. He was so interested in the likes of, like, you know, the Titanic story and all that sort of thing, that he's gone ahead and done all of that. And considering that recent one that just literally imploded at a certain depth,
Which happened to Michael Bean's character in Abyss.
Exactly. Yes.
They were using a Mad Cat.
But yeah, I mean, like I say, I mean, I would quite happily go and see The Abyss in the cinema again. I'd love to. I would love.
That's
to
one
see
that I
it.
would love to see. I
Yeah,
think
but
I've seen the
it's
majority of the rest of them,
And,
but that
and
definitely.
if they do end up banning the 4K over here completely, then
For what?
They don't even remember the scene.
There's a
They
scene with
drown
a
a
rat.
rat, don't they?
Yeah.
And animal rights people have got into it, and they're like, they can't have
they
it in
got
this
enough
country.
to complain about.
Yeah.
It's where they put it in they call it liquid oxygen.
They
or
liquid
whatever.
oxygen, isn't it? That's it. That's
and
the
they
one.
Start putting them in that fluid.
But doesn't it start breathing?
Yeah, well, allegedly.
Until proven guilty.
That's why we can't have it here.
There's where the term drowned rat came. No, it doesn't. But that film, The Abyss, was the first Cameron film I ever watched.
Okay.
The first Cameron film I remember watching from James Cameron.
Right.
And that film was phenomenal. Like, when the water comes to life, they're in the boat. That everything in that is right.
You can see the spawn of the T-1000.
You can, yeah, you really can. But also, like, the colouring,
Well, that's how it originated from, wasn't it?
the lighting, and the fact that they actually were underwater, and a lot of them didn't know what they were getting in for as well. If you watch any of the making of
Ed
stuff,
Harris
like,
I think
goes
they
on and on
hated it.
about it all the
Yeah.
time.
they
Yeah.
never
Didn't
told me that I was going to have to swim,
Yeah.
or I was going to be in water, or it was going to be cold, or it was, like, he moans the most about it, but he's so good in it as well.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
Who's
despondent.
the actress in that?
Oh, she played May Marian in Robin
She's
Hood,
one of
didn't
those
she?
people that I always know that I like her, but you never know.
Go on, John, Google that shit.
Let's waste some time while he's doing that.
Are you done with James Cameron, by the way?
No, I was just going to say that his films have grossed $8 billion.
Yeah.
You know.
That's just from Avatar alone, though. Probably.
Well, yeah.
And franchise.
No, I
Yeah.
can't, I
He
can't
has-
remember which actor or actress. One of them has to put the helmet on, and then the helmet fills up. But I think
That
it's
scene
Ed
gets me
Harris.
every time, man.
Is it-
Ed Harris puts it on in the end.
Yeah, he's genuinely panicking, I think, because he didn't understand, like you say, he didn't understand what was happening, and the panic on his face, I'm sure it's him or is it her, but as it's filling up, that it's genuine panic. They didn't have a clue.
That's it, what's her name?
Mary Elizabeth
that's it.
Mastrantonio.
But you talking about that scene, Howard, I mentioned in the podcast before, but that scene terrifies me because I think as an audience, when we watch it and the water's rising, you're breathing their last breaths with them, especially hers, because she's the one who says, look, I'll drown, you bring me back, and then, get me there and bring me back. And when she does it, Cameron keeps that on it, and she's literally, trying to get her last breath, and and then she drowns in front of him, and that's when Ed Harris cries, and it's such an intense scene, and it's just simply just a room filled with water, and how much that does to you is just gives me chills every time watching that scene.
It's like I can't swim, and so I watched that film.
And
and I
you're
was-
fucked.
Well, yeah, but you know what I mean. But that's how I looked at it. I thought to myself,
What would you do in this situation?
How frightening must that have been? And like you say, you can see it on her face. She looks pretty.
She played it
fucking-
well.
Yeah. So I mean, it's always kind of stuck with me. Them bits. I mean, not the CGI side of it aside, the acting in it really stood out for me. Because, like you say, they're that far underwater, and when these things happen, it's like there is that look of shockers on their face, and it makes you kind of think. Did they know that next scene was coming? Or
That's what I'm thinking.
because some of the directors, they do that. They don't tell them what the next scene is.
Yeah.
They just do it, and then
Like
you
Kubrick.
get the true.
One of my directors does that.
Yeah, one of mine
in
does.
my list.
And you get the true reaction that way.
Good pick. Mario number 4, please.
So I had a choice of two here, and they're still at the two in front of me here.
Still on there.
Yeah, and I still can't decide. But I'm going to go with an Australian director. And this is one of the ones where I was talking about, like, I watched the film with my daughters, and I finished watching the film, and one of them looks at me, I really like that, Dancing Penguins. And I was like,
I know where this
brilliant.
is going.
And I was like, yeah, it's really good. He's done some other stuff as well, I'm sure of it. And then I went back and looked and went, yeah, he's done some of my favourite films. The best Mel Gibson films ever. And it's George Miller.
Yes.
Australian director. His post-apocalyptic world in Australia is just phenomenal, and I can't wait for Furiosa. Like,
So what's the other films he's done for the audience?
So he's done Lorenzo's Oil. He has done Happy Feet 1 and 2. He has done Witches of Eastwick, which is so good. Yeah. And Mad Max 1, 2, 3, Fury Road, and Furiosa is going to be...
I love the Mad Max franchise.
I felt like giving Mad Max Furiosa or Fury Road was wrong. You should never have called it Mad Max at all.
Just Fury Road.
Fury Road. A Mad Max saga would have been enough, because he's in it for 5 minutes. He says next to nothing, and it's not even Mel Gibson anymore.
Yeah, it's true.
You didn't need Mad Max in it at all.
I think people do shorten it to Fury Road now, don't they? And we all know they mean Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah, because people don't go Mad Max Fury Road. They just go, you watched Fury Road the other night? Yeah.
So I think they kind of get in it now that, like, what's the point of putting Mad Max on it if he's not really in it for very long?
But his vision, that first Mad Max, which was done on next to no budget at all.
Yeah.
And at the time, I don't know if you know the zombie film Brain Dead. I think it's
Love Brain Dead.
And it's kind of got that Australian feel to it. Like when you first watch it and they're out in the desert and, he gets the car, his family get killed. The whole Mel Gibson character arc in that first film goes from happiness to desperation so quickly, and he captures that. And then every film on that, he builds on, one, the anger that's in Mel Gibson's character, but also the anger in the world around. Like, it's there's never any lush greenery until the very last film. And then, even then, there's kind of that, desperation. The world around is falling apart. And he does that really well. And then you've got Happy Feet, which is animated, completely different. And, like, I thought it was just going to be...
Totally opposite to what...
I thought it was going to be an absolute pile of trash. And I did. And my youngest, she was like, I want to watch the Penguin film. I'm not watching the Penguin film.
There's such a big cast there. There's like Hugh Jackman, Nicole Kidman.
I'm not watching the Penguin
Elijah
film.
Wood.
Especially if Hugh Jackman's going to sing. I'm not watching... I'm not watching that film. And Ivy just went, no, you got to watch it. So we sat down and we watched it together. And I was like, I really enjoyed that. And then his name came up at the end. I was like, oh, he killed a lot of people, you know.
And his back catalogue of films, he never, like any of the Mad Maxes, got an Oscar nomination, and then he gets it for Best Animated Movie.
But he made Tina Turner like a villain.
Yeah,
like she's not. Well, she's not villain, but he made her
She's
a villain.
an anti-hero.
Yeah.
But she just needs another hero.
She does need another hero.
Beyond the Wonder
Mario, are you telling me you don't like The Greatest Showman?
I hate that. Well, no, okay. I like The Greatest Showman. I hate...
That's not the same director, by the way, guys.
I hate the other one, which is the one he did before that, where the French Les Mis... Yeah,
oh, no.
Like,
no,
nobody in that can sing.
No.
But no, let's get off that. Back to George Miller. Otherwise, my guilty pleasures are coming out. So let's just stick with George Miller. Like, I can't express how
pick.
Dirty. How
Which one's your
gritty.
favourite of the Mad Maxes?
So I want to say Thunderdome.
Really?
No, I want to say Thunderdome, but actually, exactly 2. 2 is the one.
Road Warrior.
Yeah.
One sets it all up, but one I find it does in some places you can see the strings.
Right, yeah.
But 2 definitely runs into like...
Considering the budget one was made, and it's like $70,000 or something.
I also think that 2 is the reason for the opening credits of Knight Rider. The car coming across the desert and that kind of...
Never really thought of it like that.
And it kind of, you start at the beginning of that film with like the desert scene, and then it goes down into the car, and then it goes into the car, and you got Mel Gibson's eyes and face and just the intensity of him kind of being angry but also sad at the same time.
Yeah.
And that whole, and that's where I think also Knight Rider comes in, where they go from the desert, the lone, rider,
right.
and then it comes down into the car, you get the profile, you get the front, and I think that's, but even so. Mad Max 2, yeah, it's got.
Is the reason why Knight Rider happened?
Yeah, in my opinion.
It's possible. Who knows, mate?
Yeah, that's my number 4.
Nice, sir. Chris.
Right, my number 4, I believe his last couple of... I've not seen his latest one, but the one before was a little bit weak, but it still had me interested.
Okay.
He's got some of my favourite films of all time, and that is Martin Scorsese.
Ah, okay.
So I'm a big gangster fan. I love my mob movies. So, like, obviously, Goodfellas, Casino, The Departed. But then, like, the newer ones, which is kind of why I was like, oh, he's got...
The 3-hour extended movies of his.
Load it all up. Or was it Wolf on Wall Street?
Yeah.
And I really like Shutter Island. It's not the best...
I like Shutter Island, and I was going to say, I think that's one of the films that DiCaprio was actually very good in.
Every film that he goes in, I just sit there. Catch Me If You Can, I found bearable.
Oh, I love that film.
But I don't know what it is about him. This goes also back to the McCulkin thing for me. Sorry, like McCulkin, I just want to punch in the face in every film.
I'll give you that. Yeah.
And it was only like I think we mentioned this last time. Like Uncle Buck is the only film with him in that
He's barely in it.
but also he's quite funny. in
True,
Uncle
yeah.
Buck.
But then I can't stand anything with Vin Diesel in, so it's the
Nah,
same.
Yeah, fair
I can't
play.
either.
Like, literally.
I like Man Apart. That's a good movie.
But
anyway. We're going off. Martin Scorsese.
We're going to films. Scorsese.
Yeah, Scorsese. So, like, The Wolf on Wall Street, like, one of his later ones was really good. And obviously, Shutter Island, I've only watched a couple of times. I've been trying to watch it with my partner because she's not watched it. It's the only reason I've not watched it again recently because I'm like, we can watch it. Spoilers. Gangs in New York, I like.
I do like Gangs in New York.
It's one of those ones that, like, I really got to be in a mood. Like, I'm going to watch Gangs in New York.
It's very heavy.
It's not as easy to, Gangs in New York. So
I feel like that's the film that brought back Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah.
Because he had such a good opening in the early 90s.
that scene at the beginning where he pulls out his
and then he
eyes.
just disappeared, didn't
There
he?
Will Be
Well, no,
Blood was the other one.
he retired.
He's fantastic in There Will Be Blood, yeah.
Daniel
He's ruthless
Day-Lewis
in that.
announced his retirement, didn't he? And then he came back.
Oh, is that why?
yeah,
Did he do the
Right.
Last of the Mohicans?
He did, that's what I'm saying, the early 90s,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that was
So-
92.
And then I think
My
he
left
said
foot.
that he was retiring, and
Yeah.
then he just came back. Like I can't remember what he came back, why he came back, but he said like he couldn't
Wasn't it
pass-
literally Gangs of New York?
Yeah, he couldn't pass up on it. He said it was a chance to work with Scorsese and the script and him.
Bill the Butcher's such
mate.
Bill the
I mean, what a
Butcher's such a villainous
that
character.
was it. That was it. He got to play something that was different in his mind to what he'd ever done.
Yeah, great
Yeah.
film. That.
I mean, and he's also done, like, I loved Cape Fear. That is, like,
Yes,
as
yeah.
a brutal thriller.
I always forget that's a remake
Yeah.
as well.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
it is. And I believe he did, is it Taxi Driver?
Yeah, the
The original Taxi Driver. So he's done a lot of, like, so on there, I'm always going to go back and I'm always going to watch The Departed, Goodfellas, Casino, Wolf on Roost. Maybe, like, over a couple of years, I will probably always watch those films every couple of years, no matter, if it's on or I just fancy, I don't know what to watch.
Yeah.
When I saw The Irishman coming out, I was like, you've got me hook, line, and sinker. And then I watched it for 3 hours. I was like, fuck.
Yeah. It is a slow burn.
I never watched
I probably won't watch that again,
Was
maybe.
it like chewing on a tough bit of meat?
So, but then my friend went to see, what's the new one? That he did?
Killers of the Flower Moon.
And I went, how was that? And he went, well, like watching paint dry. And I went, yeah. And he goes, it's like what? It's like writing the report on watching paint dry. And I was like,
to be very good.
Well, based on that amazing review, I'm watching now because it flashed up on my Amazon Prime.
Yeah, but I want to watch it. But all I can see is my mate's review going, I
Yeah.
fucking told you.
See,
I've got that Apple Plus and it's on there for free to watch.
I
and I'm
fucking
like,
told you.
But thing is, I've heard good things about
But it's got
it.
it's got DiCaprio who like you're instant for me. Yeah,
He's definitely not
it's not
watching
for
it.
you.
I'm going
But
to watch it.
didn't
Just,
but it
hey,
just
if
like-
I like it, I like it. So we'll see.
Yeah, so I will watch it, but I was going to be like, I'm kind of
With hesitancy.
But you talking about retired actors? So Joe Pesci retired, didn't he? And then,
Did he?
but came back for Irishman, didn't he? So
But that's why. But then he wasn't Pesci for me in that. He was a bit soft in it. And even De Niro, they were just hanging
you were
on.
expecting the Goodfellas Pesci, weren't you? And
I
it
was
wasn't the
expecting
case,
something,
yeah.
or he was a mob boss, but he didn't feel like a mob boss, and it was good enough to go. But then with that one, and then my mate telling me about the next one, I was like, it's a bit of a trend, but I can never discount that back catalogue.
Time's moved on, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what's your favourite out of the lot then?
I would say Goodfellas and...
Oh, only one?
Yeah, Goodfellas. Oh, sorry, I don't... No, two.
But what was the second one, if it was?
Probably either Departed or Wolf of Wall Street. It depends on what I want, because... If I want gang, but like they're both criminals. I love a bit of a crime. Anything that's got a bit of a true story or crime. That's you.
I think I prefer Departed because I like the whole undercover side of the story. I prefer that sort of thing. I'm not much into gangster films, but I do like the undercover side
I love
stories.
Is it
Point Break's an undercover story, by the way.
Green Street, Wall Street, and what was the other one? There was a couple of like
Gangs of New York and whatnot. Yeah,
and I don't know if you saw the Black Friday comedy with. The Crash of Wall Street, and it had the guy who played Iron Man's mate. It's fucking hilarious.
Don Cheadle or Terrence Howard?
Don Cheadle.
Right.
It's like half-hour episodes, and it's all about them crashing Wall Street, that Black Friday.
All right, okay.
Oh, yeah, like the first episode is just people jumping out the windows, and I was like...
Fucking hell.
But it happened.
Yeah.
It did happen.
But not for the first time either.
No. History repeats itself.
So, yeah, that's more of a... He might, because obviously he's old and he's getting on, and there's probably not so many on it.
He's probably got one or two left in him now, hasn't he?
So, but I'll always go back and watch those films.
Nice. Right, my number 4 is Clash with John. It's James Cameron. Pretty much what John said. He is essentially, you can't deny, he is a Hollywood director.
But which Cameron? For what film?
So my one is going to be Aliens. I love the Alien franchise. It's one of my favourite sequels of all time. It probably would have been T2, but I've seen T2 way too many times that I probably know it all off by heart now. Well, same with Aliens, really, but I think that was technically the first Cameron film I saw. It was the first horror movie I watched as well. But then finding out about Abyss and the Terminator T2, I think I saw first, and then went back and watched the first one. But I really have a soft spot for True Lies.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's such a great film. Eliza Dushku, one of my all-time crushes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Playing his daughter.
But mine's Jamie Lee Curtis in that scene.
I don't. Do you know what? I'm going
scene.
to say this now. I'm not usually like this, but I can honestly say I think Jamie Lee Curtis in that film, in that scene,
Yes,
tops it out.
right?
She
Come on.
tops it out.
Jesus
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Another reason why I love that movie.
Yeah, take it off.
No. Dance sexy.
I mean, to be Arnie in that chair, well.
But yeah, I mean, Cameron is obviously he's very passionate about Terminator because he went and redid the. He actually filmed The Ride at Universal.
Yes.
He did the Terminator 3D film as well. I'm not particularly a big fan of Avatar, so that's why he's high on the list. I think Avatar is practically Fern Gully meets Halo.
That's what I was about to say.
I do
It's
like
literally
it.
Fern Gully, Pocahontas meets Halo.
Action Smurfs.
Action Smurfs. And I love how people like rant and rave like, oh, he's got such a
so
wide
glad you
vision.
guys said
And it's
that.
like, it's a horse with 2 extra legs. What extra vision is that on that one?
But also, then when you go to the second one, it's like, oh, brilliant. So you've just remade the first one.
Yeah.
But this time,
It's on the water.
I get jet skis.
Yeah.
But you really made us wait for it.
But Fern Gully was so good. that
Thank God it's good.
Avatar-
That needs to be
Avatar
remade.
was awesome because of Fern Gully.
But it also,
and jet skis are good.
Avatar 2 has a backstory from Deep Blue Sea as well.
Dragon ski.
Right? Come on, think about it, yeah? If you've ever seen it, no Deep Blue Sea, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I can't deny Cameron's early stuff is amazing. Aliens is fantastic.
Yeah.
And he had to go on the list regardless. Titanic, you mentioned it, Howard. I mean, I know it's not the greatest of movies, but when that film came out, it was huge. It was massive.
I agree with Chris. What an epic. It is an epic film. It's just, I don't particularly like the story of it.
Yeah, you see,
Not the whole
it-
Titanic and
yeah.
the history of Brilliant, yeah, all day long. But it's just the particular aspects of the story just didn't think of.
I had my Virgin Cinema pass on that one. And I did go multiple times.
Did you?
That's what I mean.
I'll be honest, I think I took a date to one of those showings.
That's what I mean. It was like,
I went to see that, and then The Matrix. I can't remember if they came out. They came out at a similar sort of time.
I think it's a year after Matrix was
Yeah.
out.
So
it was
I
98,
went to
99.
Titanic, and I watched it. And at the end of that, I was like, oh, rubbish. And I was living in Burgess Hill at the time, so it was that tiny cinema in Burgess Hill.
Right.
And I watched it there, and I was like, oh, it's all right, but, whatever. And then Matrix came out, and the same girl that I'd taken to see Titanic, she looked at the Matrix and went, "Well, that just wasn't very imaginative, was it?" I was like,
Fucking hell.
Yeah. We just saw a film about a boat that actually happened.
Yeah.
So where's the imagination in that?
Exactly.
But I've watched more makings on Titanic, the film Titanic, than I have the actual film, and I enjoyed most of the technology in that, the cameras, the usage, because I think he was using IMAX cameras as well, wasn't he, just for doing some of that, and he destroyed some because of the amount of water that was going through, and they were lent to him by IMAX. So
that's the reason I like, because I've been so interested. I've read books.
You can't deny he's always making technology for cinema, isn't he? Whether it's 3D cameras or IMAX cameras, he's always trying to do something new.
A lot of the stuff that leads into like the Matrix and stuff, the robots and the arms to use for rotating around.
Yeah,
they were all come off of stuff that he's had to do because he wants that shot. To get them, the same as like the George Lucas stuff for doing the Star Wars effects, where they did the run over and over and over again. To get that exact photography, he's kind of come up with the rigs and the running rigs and stuff like that. To stop, like, I think way back when, like some of the stabilizing cams were his ideas, his designs. And like John was saying a minute ago about the submarine, like he came up with the design for the deep submersible.
Oh, wow.
And everyone kind of laughed at him, and then he took it down, and it worked. Yeah. Like,
there you go.
There is something to Canon.
It wasn't done with an Xbox controller.
yes, and the batteries went out.
That's so bad, isn't it?
I wouldn't even play Player 2 with a Logitech.
Let alone go down to the depths.
But yeah, he's kind of like visions are definitely there.
Yeah,
definitely seen in what he does and what's around. Like, I've forgotten about Aliens. I don't know why.
Yeah,
and that is also like it's such a dark coloured film. It's so green for most of it.
It's so claustrophobic though, the way he shoots it and everything,
and then everything, like the sounds, the noise, the scurrying above the heads, like everything that he's kind of put towards it. I mean,
he was a visual effects guy as well, so he knows how to do models and whatnot, which is all in that movie as well. And the fact when he wrote the script, he's like, "Well, I'm going to make a queen out of this as well. Stan, you're going to make this for me," and made it happen.
Doing was it a bag? Well. Was it a crash bag? They called it a trash bag.
The bin bag, wasn't it? Bin bag queen, wasn't it?
Yeah. That's the bin bag queen outside the front of the studio, and they had it there for months because they couldn't take it down. That's right. But also, like the whole everything he did in Aliens, just kind of it just came true. Like, it was so good.
Well, and then it's one of those ones where you don't see an alien for the first hour, but you don't care because the character building it is phenomenal. And it's the same with the Abyss, isn't it? The Abyss, nothing happens till a good hour, but you're building character.
And if you look at some of the storyboards and the artwork that comes off of that as well from the people that he got involved with, they're not just people they were up and coming at the time, but now you look back at some of their works and you're like, oh, that's just phenomenal. Like, you know, like he saw their stuff, and then I need to make a film based off of this. Oh, this will work. I can take this and I can make that look alien.
Absolutely, yeah. And I remember when he put the pitch for Aliens to the studio. Did he ever tell you that?
I don't remember.
When he wrote the movie, and he apparently went to 20th Century Fox, and he had a blackboard or whatever it was, and put the word alien on it, right? And he said, "Right, I've got this picture here, ready?" And he put the S at the end. There's your pitch. And they were like, okay.
That's the sequel.
That was literally it, yeah.
There's more than one.
That's it. He literally just put the S at the end, and that was it. And they were 20th Century Fox like, yeah, do it.
And like you say, Alien, massive success. Alien, put an S on the end of it. There you go. Oh, there's your $500 million to make the film. Then they don't care. They just know he's going to make.
Let's make it more terrifying and have aliens, not just one in this time. Yeah, that's it. That's our first clash of the night. Let's go to number 3s.
Number 3.
Howard, back to the B list, sir.
The best list.
The best list so far.
That's very debatable. Number 3 on the B movie directors list is a director called Charles Band. Now,
don't know that name.
Charles Band.
Sounds deadly.
Yeah.
Well, Charles Band directed a series of films for, I think they're called Half Moon or Full Moon is
Total Eclipse.
Half Moon. No, Full Moon. I think they're called Full Moon Pictures. It's called Ginger Dead Man. Has anybody ever heard of this film?
No, but I'm sure I worked with him, didn't I?
I think you very possibly did.
That was me in a previous life.
That sounds like a Martin Scorsese film there, right there.
It's a dead man.
Hey, Mickey the Nose, go kill that ginger guy.
But they came out with this film called Ginger Dead Man, and then they followed it up with one called
The fuck do you find these houses?
No, it was called Evil Bong.
That's how he finds them.
Yeah. You can imagine Johnny Depp being in that one.
There's about 1,000 sequels to this shit.
Oh, wow.
So the Ginger Dead Man basically is he's a Chucky type character because he's the spirit of a dead serial killer who has his ashes ground in and made into a gingerbread man. The gingerbread man comes to life and starts killing people. But what's really great is that the Ginger Dead Man is played by Gary Busey. So
nice.
Okay. Now you're selling it.
yeah, but what they've done,
Busey.
and if you, Busey. So
Butter sausage.
In his later years, when he's gone slightly I say slightly insane, when he's gone completely off his
more
nut.
insane, yeah.
Okay.
So it's a little animated character, but they've given him Busey teeth.
Oh, of course they have.
There's this thing with the
Of course
Busey
they have.
teeth, and he's just being he's been total 11 about the whole thing. Charles Band, purely because he created this fucking character, and my partner loves it. So again, this is why this is on the list. I'm a bit in two minds about these films because they really suck balls.
But the directors are phenomenal.
On the list.
But the vision.
Well,
You got to appreciate the vision.
I mean, we've seen so many of these bloody things. He must be doing something right.
Yeah, but they said that about zombie films, and then we got Cockneys versus zombies.
Fucking hell, there's a picture of it there.
We did. There you go, Ginger Dead Man. There you go. So,
Gary Busey.
just in case
Ginger Dead Man.
you thought there was any doubt about the Ginger Dead
No, I
Man.
didn't. I just wanted to see. You
Pretty much, yeah. Knock off Child's Play.
There's
So-
more than one of
Yeah,
these.
that's what I said.
He just said that.
There's literally like 1,000 sequels to these bloody films.
That
Yeah.
Fast and the Furious.
It's like the older
Yeah. Fucking Vin
gingerbread
Diesel.
in space.
This is the same film production company that did like Puppet Master.
Ah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and
That
stuff
makes
like
sense.
Yeah.
So what's on the A-list, sir?
Puppet Master.
I like the names of these Ginger Dead Men.
Yeah, go on.
You got Saturday Night Cleaver. You got The Passion of the Crust.
Yeah.
Oh, you lose me at titles as well. You lose me at titles.
Oh my!
Oh my
There's
god!
even Ginger Dead Man versus
Yeah.
Evil Bong.
Oh, we need to get the box set of this and just watch that. I'm telling you, I'm calling it now,
Oh,
mate.
mate.
I mean, I've never seen a film on a
Passion of the
shoestring
Crust.
as much as it- yeah,
That's had me.
That sounds like a porno.
it might as well.
I think you're on the
Oh
wrong
my
side.
god! Oh my god!
Oh, I've completed it. Going on the dark web now.
You got all the achievements, yeah.
So yeah,
Definitely get
bless
that in,
Charles Band for creating that.
Well on, Charles Bam.
Number 3, A movie directors, and a real A movie director is Alfred Hitchcock.
Nice.
Oh, nice one, yeah.
Yeah.
Not on my list.
I've written a few of my favourites here. Rope, Dial M for Murder,
I like Dial M for Murder. I was going to say.
Rear Window. Yeah, Dial M for Murder. What a simple concept.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
it plays out like a stage play.
I was about to say, is it a stage play or was he just filmed it like a stage play?
No, it is a stage play.
Right.
A lot of Hitchcock stuff is taken from, either adapted from, or the idea is from a stage play, because that's what it was, or a radio play.
Well, Rope
Right.
is set in one room, and I think it's cut into 3 takes simply because they had to, but he would have filmed it all in one go.
Wow.
So the actors play it like a stage play. One room, several characters,
Yeah.
and I won't ruin what the film is about because it is a genuine...
I love
amazing
Rear
film.
Window though. Rear Window's a good one.
Rear Window. I mean, again, simple ideas, and he is the master of claustrophobic storytelling. And he kind of takes these characters who've got a little bit of anxiety. They might have just a little bit of background about them. What makes the protagonist in that film, and then he plays on that for that character. So whether they're paranoid, whether they've got vertigo or anything like that. So he takes.
I see
that,
what he did there.
Yeah, very good. Yeah. So on the list, and he'll take that about that particular character and then play on that, and he'll torture that character. So like North by Northwest.
Isn't that like a secret agent film or something?
Well, essentially, it turns it into a secret agent film.
Right,
But, yeah,
okay.
but it's not a secret agent film.
Right, okay.
Really. He's a case of mistaken identity. But a lot of the time the main character is thrown into this situation or this scenario and tortured to a degree, and comes out at the end of it, and it's always a happy ending. But yeah, I simply love Hitchcock because he's the master of suspense. You never quite know what you're going to get with him, and the storytelling is absolutely on point. I think I haven't seen one bad Hitchcock film, and they're not all on what I've written down here. I mean, obviously Psycho, The Birds.
I like Strangers on the Train. You ever seen that?
That's
a good one as well.
Yeah, very good. And he taps into kind of fears of the viewer as well. So depending on what the particular story is about, he might. All right, let's take The Birds. The Birds is the perfect example of that one. If you have a fear of avian, then yeah. Absolutely, that's going to be a horror for you. But if it's not, it's not. But it's still a good story to tell. I don't know what else to say about Hitchcock, really. I mean, I think we've all seen a Hitchcock film.
I'm glad it was in someone's list because I was kicking myself he wasn't on mine.
I haven't chosen him because of films like Psycho. I think Psycho is a really good film, but it's one to put him on the map, probably, really, isn't it? It's one to put him on the map. But
I think Psycho's overrated.
I think it's overrated.
It's good. It's shot well. It does have that suspenseful view, but but because of society and everything else like that, all of the good stuff from that is taken away because everyone, they copy it, they imitate it, they do everything, and I just think it takes away from that film. In a lot of the ways that like The Simpsons and everyone else and that they do like a trope on it,
parodies, don't they?
Parodies and all that, and I think that takes away from it. I mean, it shows that Hitchcock's influential in some way or form, but it also shows that something like that can just be trivialised. And I think there's other things he's done that are much better and aren't trivialised as much.
Yeah. One of the last bits on Hitchcock, I love the fact that virtually every film there's a little bit of him in it. So whether it's a silhouette in the background,
it's the cameo, isn't it? Yeah,
or he's in the background holding a balloon.
And Peter Jackson does it with all these films now, doesn't he?
Yeah, so he influenced the future directors. I think he's great.
They always call it the Hitchcock cameo, don't they? If you know the director's in it, don't you?
Stallone does it as well.
Does he?
Saturday Night Fever. He walks down the street, bumps into John Travolta.
No, I didn't know that.
If you watch it, he's walking down the street. He's just in the street. It's just the street scene, and Travolta bumps into this guy, and he's in a big fur coat, looking like a pimp. He turns around, it's Stallone.
Oh, I never knew that.
There you go.
She'll have to watch that one scene.
Anything else on Hitchcock, sir?
No.
Nice. All right, John, number 3 then.
Well, number 3 is Christopher Nolan.
Oh, okay.
And I'm
very close to being on my list.
I'm very torn because I want to put in Batman Begins because I know you don't like it, but I like Batman, and I think he did a very good job of it. Okay, he spread it over 3 films.
As your favourite film of his, you're going to put Batman Begins?
No, I was going to. But
right, okay.
I'm going to do Dunkirk.
Okay.
The reason I'm putting in Dunkirk is because I had not long watched The Darkest Hour with Gary Oldman. And I like Gary Oldman anyway. So then, we went and saw Dunkirk. And I just think it's the best portrayal of it that I've seen. I don't know, there's been other Dunkirk films. But it's done typical Chris Nolan. It's it's done in
3 different stories that combine, isn't it? 3 different
stories all happening at the same time. And the concept is, I think it's the soldiers on the beach is a day. No, Soldiers on the Beach I think is a week, isn't it? And the pilot is a day, and the guys on the ships, I think,
hours or something, isn't it?
Hours or something like that. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
huh?
so
I didn't know.
Did you know that?
Yeah, it's 3 different.
You've seen it, right?
Yeah, loads of times. Yeah, I just didn't clock that was a.
Yeah, we talked about it on the walk.
Yeah, that's right. We did, yes. And the origins of Bane.
That's right.
Yeah. From Dunkirk. Yeah. Because he wears a mask and then he gets captured by the Nazis.
They
reckon it's. So they reckon that's how Bane was created.
And then we were thinking, how the hell did they get that? Oh my god!
Even though the origin is on Dark Knight Rises of it, but it was like that's how Bane was created.
Yeah, but I mean, like I say, he's done a lot of. I haven't seen Oppenheimer. I hear so many good reports.
I think that was a bit overrated, personally.
Meant
but
to be a very, very good film. I haven't.
I haven't
seen
I
it,
thought it was
so
overrated.
I can't put it on there. But again, he's a director whose films I've liked all of them. I don't think there's a film he's done I've not liked.
I'm surprised you picked Dunkirk. Very surprised. Why? I thought Inception was going to be yours.
Well,
that's my favourite as well. I love Inception.
Yeah,
De Niro, DiCaprio. That's why you don't like it.
You see, mine's Memento.
Yeah,
I
okay.
really like-
Memento's
I really
good,
like
yeah.
Guy Pearce in that, I think, is really
Yeah.
good. Where he keeps tattooing himself just to remember the day, but also the fact it's working backwards from the beginning. And
That's right.
I didn't like.
But you don't know that at the start, do
No,
you?
you don't know that. It's just spoil it. Not that it's a new film, but like the films that he's done, where it's in like Inception, where it's is it a dream inside a dream inside a dream inside a roll inside a BAP. I didn't like that, but I liked Memento because it was linear, even though it was going the wrong way.
Yeah.
But it was that I like that about that film, and I like the kind of the visual styling of like chaos, and then the day suddenly starts at chaos and then finishes with kind of a calm. Okay, so this is what I need to remember for tomorrow, and he tattoos it on himself so he can remember it. And then the following day, he wakes up in a panic because he doesn't know who he is, where he is, and what he is. And then he looks at his hand or his eyelid or wherever he's tattooed himself, and there's a story across his person as he goes through.
That's right.
Yeah, that's good. I'm either I like The Prestige.
Yes.
I like Interstellar out of
Okay, yeah.
those. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then obviously I'm big. I do like. Was it 2 and 3 of the Batmans?
Yeah. Not Begins.
Not the Begins.
Oi. I had to start
But
somewhere
no,
where
you
it's
talking
got
about
that big
Robin
games.
Williams earlier on. Did you
I
ever see
like
Insomnia?
Yeah.
By Chris Nolan. He's fantastic in that as well. I forgot he was the bad guy in that as well. Sorry, John, taking number 3.
You're
Go
not.
on.
I mean, this is where I was said to where I struggled quite a lot with picking films and picking directors, because I like Christopher Nolan's films. It's very, very hard to pick one of his that would stand out better than the others, kind of thing. So
He tops it every time he brings a new one out.
He does,
doesn't
and the
really?
thing is, he's very cerebral. He's one of these actors where you really kind of like have to get what he's trying to put across. There's almost like there's two stories. You've got the film, and that's for everyone to watch and enjoy, and it's really, really good. And then there's the people who will try to work it out, because there's always a story. There's always something. in
Yeah,
it.
and Dunkirk's a massive...
And that's why I like Dunkirk, because he done it like...
Because people were like, oh, Christopher Nolan's doing a war movie.
Yeah.
And then when it was like you said, it's the 3 stories put
Yes.
together, it's like, I can't fucking follow this. It's a piece of shit.
That
I don't get it, mate.
Yeah, that's why to me...
The fucking subtitles.
Yeah.
Don't want to read a film.
No, but that's why I like Batman or
That's how critics go these days.
Dunkirk over all of them, because the fact that he's told 3 different stories all at the same time, and it's like you're saying, I mean, you could hear the cogs going in people's brains in the cinema when they're watching, and they're going, well, hang on a minute, he's just done it, and now we're with this guy and he's on a boat.
I don't fucking get it.
And they just didn't, did they?
No.
And that's what I like about Christopher Nolan's films. But this was so in your face. You didn't get Inception? Watch this then. You know what I mean? And it's like, and that's why Dunkirk stands out for me.
Nice. Mario, what's number 3?
So, this guy is an inspiration for my number 2, so that will give my number 2 away a little bit. However, this guy is... he starts with kind of like my teenage years,
Right.
and the 80s and stuff like that, and I think he encapsulates that quite well. And it's John Hughes.
Nice.
So,
Brat Pack.
Yeah, so I love 16 Candles, even though nothing really happens in it, and I don't know why I like it. Because
Breakfast Club's like that. Nothing really happens in it.
And I like
either.
Breakfast Club as well.
Get the ball, get the horn.
That's it's exactly that. But my all-time favourite of his is Weird Science.
Oh,
I just love that film.
See, I'm
Nice.
Planes, Trains and Automobiles.
So I can agree with that as well. That's
Yeah.
a great film.
See, this is
Ferris Bueller, 100% Ferris Bueller, Home Alone, and of course the one I mention all the time for liking Macaulay Culkin, Uncle Buck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has to be
The
Uncle
Giant Pancakes. It just
but
wins me every time.
why Weird Science?
Weird Science, because it's different from all the others. And what's her? Kelly
Brook.
no,
Kelly Brook. Kelly LeBrock. Sorry, LeBrock.
Like, yes.
Yeah. You still would today, mate. She looks fit today as
100 times,
well.
yes. I remember them watching. So I watched Weird Science quite late when it was kind of around. It was the Steven Seagal film after that, Hard to Kill. I
Yes.
think it is.
She's
And
in that as well, yes.
she's the physio.
That's right. Yeah.
Where he
That's
kind of
right,
been
yes.
shot to pieces and he's
Yeah.
annihilated.
Can I interrupt?
Yeah, go on.
That's got one of the best scenes ever.
Has
where
it not
he's-
just?
No, well, he's trying to get himself back to full fitness.
Yeah.
And he's got this sort of, I don't know what you call
It's
it.
a kung fu dummy.
It's the
kung fu
he's
dummy.
doing it so slow and
Yeah.
geriatrically. I literally pressed my seat. He's going, boof, boof. And I think there's no tension. There's nothing in this.
There's not
monster.
a punch, is it?
No, it's his beard and his walking stick.
Yeah, I think
he is.
that was meant to be. It was brilliantly done.
But going back to Weird Science,
Anyway, sorry, Weird Science.
I wanted to be those kids, like so much so, like
Create your own girlfriend.
create my own girl, because that was the thing. Because at the time, I was really into computers. I was like really liked the idea of doing something like that, and I need more RAM so I can create a better looking woman, and then taking the pages of like Playboy and stuff like that, and then and then getting struck by lightning, and this could really happen, like for some strange reason in my head, and that whole thing
It's
of
like a Frankenstein backstory to it, isn't it? Really, isn't it?
is,
Yeah.
but it's the brother. I can't remember his name.
Bill Paxton.
Yeah, but it's Bill
Paxton,
Paxton, but it's not. His name is like the
Oh,
tank.
he's like Chad or something.
Yeah, something like that, isn't it?
Chud? Is it Chud?
Maybe, yeah.
Like
I
Chud.
so.
And then, like, she turns him into like a blob or
Oh,
something.
That's right,
the
yeah,
bogey
yeah.
monster.
That's
yeah.
it, yeah. And then, and when the way she turns around to him, she like shoots him down as well, where he thinks he's all that and he's doing all. And yeah, that whole film, all the way from start to finish, it starts kind of like these kind of down and outs who are looked down upon by everyone around them, and then it finishes with them being the heroes, and that was kind of like the childhood I wanted to live.
Yeah,
Who were
because they
bullied?
kind of get the girls, don't they? But not Kelly.
No, the proper
character.
goes, who were they bullied by?
I'm trying to think of the bully boy. I haven't watched it for so
It's
long.
Danny Jr., isn't it?
Danny
It's
Jr., yeah.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yeah, Danny Jr.
Amazing.
and the other guy who's in. I think he's been in a couple of Freddy Krueger
Yeah.
movies and stuff. Yeah,
Because
yeah,
because that led me to watch.
super young.
It's the same.
Danny
It always
Jr.,
does me
innit?
out. Days Confused when it's Ben Affleck in the
Yes,
same as those.
I wish that every day as well. Actually,
If it wasn't for that film, I wouldn't have gone and watched Young Einstein and regretted my life. But I quite liked Young Einstein, but it was just I watched the whole of that film, and at the end of it, I was like, why did I go to the cinema for this? Like, and then there was another film that came out, and I can't remember what it was called, but like they make popcorn using a satellite, and it fires in through the roof of the house. And it's another one that was in that vein of they are down and out student things, but Weird Science kind of set it all up. And John Hughes, like everything he does starts with everyone kind of like Breakfast Club.
yeah.
It is everybody you knew from school suddenly getting on.
Yeah,
They start off hating each other, and by the end of it, everyone's mates.
Because they're all the opposites,
Yeah.
aren't
Yeah,
they?
yeah,
What they
yeah.
I
are,
love
yeah.
John
And
Hughes narration because it's always
Yeah,
like
yeah,
there's
yeah.
always a monologue over like the main character is in there. It's
Yeah,
like
definitely. And then of course Home Alone.
one
of the greatest-
He produced it. He didn't make it, though.
He
Yeah.
did the screenwrites for that, didn't he? He did
Yeah.
the screenwrite for that.
Screenwrite
He
and
did
produced it. He didn't
National
make it.
Lampoon, Christmas Vacation,
Yeah.
and he also did The Great Outdoors.
Yes, which he wrote.
Pretty
But,
much-
I'm telling you, he directed that, but didn't put his name down for that.
Pretty much anything that you found funny in the 80s/90s.
It's my favourite John Candy movie of all time. that
I've
is
also
well.
got to chuck in there Ferris Bueller.
Ferris Bueller
Yes.
Ferris
Yes.
Bueller
is one of the best films of all time.
I will. Yeah, I'll put that down on my top
And-
10 list. I wouldn't put it on, maybe on the top 5.
But you
definitely
topped it with Planes, Trains, didn't you?
Planes,
Planes,
Trains and
Trains.
Automobiles, I was kind of killed
Nobody-
me not getting it onto my top 5 comedies, and it done
you
me-
was on that episode,
and I
weren't
was
you? Yeah.
really-
But the
it-
thing with
it-
Planes,
it-
Trains is it was remade badly, and nobody's ever made Ferris Bueller.
I don't think.
Oh, you can't.
You can't remake it. You can't
No,
do
because
it.
there's an app now for if you don't turn up for school. There's an app that instantly tells
Yeah,
you.
there is that.
Oh, is there?
Yeah, because like
That'll be the end of the film.
partner with her boy
But-
comes in. He's not in. He's not
I
in
don't-
lesson.
I
Hasn't done
don't-
his. He's like,
I don't
fuck
think
me.
you can find anyone else like Broderick, like
No.
for that role. Like and the whole way through that film.
Do you not think that Varys himself, the character, is a bit of a smug piece of shit? Though?
Oh, yeah, he's not nice.
There's times I like him at the beginning, but then when he's like in town being all this and like I
He's
kind
not
of
a nice
don't
guy.
like him very much.
But I went from War Games to watching Ferris
I
Bueller.
love War Games.
Almost
War Games.
immediately in that weekend.
Yeah.
Like that I watched almost like Broderick 3. But so there was a thing. So do you remember a film called Daryl?
Yes.
yes.
So I watched Daryl.
The plane.
That led me into War Games.
Yeah.
That led me into Ferris Bueller. And Daryl was kind of like the dumbed down version of War Games,
Yeah.
more or less, with the cyborg kid that's really good at Atari F1. And then
That's hard.
and then, yeah, so all you got to do is go left, right, left. Anyway, and then after watching War Games, it was almost like Broderick's got really cocky from the end of War Games because like I beat the computer, and then you get to him to then Ferris Bueller.
Yeah.
So it's almost like the evolution of Broderick, like, and that's how I watched it. So I never actually thought that he was unjustified
Yeah.
in his kind of cockiness and his arrogance. But I see where you're coming from.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
he is from start to finish. Like,
I mean, that character is kind of like that in War Games, like you said as well.
Yeah.
He's all like, being
well,
there, whatnot, yeah.
he starts like a down. No,
Like he chats back to his teachers in that.
I keep saying down and out, but like he's not. He's the smart kid that's kind of ostracized. He's He's kind of too smart for school, but not smart enough for society. And then at War Games, at the end of it, he's got the girl, and it's like. And how did he do that? Well, he put his phone into this big box next to his computer, and it beeped a lot. And then he
changed to the grades.
And then,
then
he telnetted into the computer at school, which you couldn't do at that time. And then he got into a supercomputer. Yeah, it all makes complete sense. Of course, I believe it. On a monochromatic screen, it's amazing. But
wasn't it called the Whopper or something?
It was the Whopper. Yeah, because the one out of Hackers is the Gibson.
That's it.
Which I was like, and at that time I was like, I want a Gibson. I mean the guitar, not the actual computer, because the computers are. But John Hughes, I just think is so good. And yet again, another one of those ones where he brings heart into the film. Like he does, he brings all these different elements together. Home Alone, okay, he didn't direct it, but he was influential in producing and writing some of that. Weird Science as well. Ferris Bueller. 16 Candles, where he just takes everyone's forgotten her birthday and turns it into something. Yeah. And Uncle Buck, you take like a loser like that, and by the end of the film, you're like, he's not a loser. He's the greatest man alive.
Yeah.
And it's the same with Planes. Planes is a comedy all the way to the very last 20 minutes or so, and it's just whole heart at the end.
Here's your idiot that is a loser and has nothing really going for him and seems really selfish, and here's your guy who seems like he's got a lot of heart and he's doing everything for his family and he's trying to get. And then in the end, you're like, oh, they've actually traded
swapped
places.
over.
They're actually, he's the. Oh, I get it now. Yeah. Literally like the film Trading Places. Like they've literally changed their positions in it.
See, this is the one that I had problem that I cut right at the end. John Hughes was my 5 that I was cutting.
Oh, did he come out?
This is what and so when you did, and I was literally about to cut my number 3, my next one, and just talk about him. So I was so glad we had.
So you've cut. So something else is cut out.
No, because I just talked to I keep my list because obviously we just literally went over it, and it was kind of like. But yeah, I'm kind of glad you did, because it hurt me to cut him out there, because he pretty much, without knowing it, kind of paved the way for my what I find funny, like just John Candy, hilarious, I'm big Candy fan, and it's kind of like I didn't realise he did so many films. It was ages ago. My friend said, "Oh, I'm a big fan of John Hughes." I said, "Who's that?" And he's like,
"No one ever mentions Curly Sue."
No, Curly Sue is one of my sisters.
It is shit.
One of my sister's favourite films.
Well, Curly Sue is.
Yeah, like as a kid that I watched. She watched that to death. I watched The Princess Bride to death.
Yeah.
And she, so I hated the Curly Sue, and I didn't realise that he did it. And I was like, oh, maybe I like Curly Sue now.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, it's one of those things that I just remind me of. Always, my sister used to watch that, and I always watch something else. But yeah, John Hughes, without realising, he kind of what I find funny in it doesn't try to oversell being a comedy nowadays, where it would try. It's funny because it's funny.
Yeah.
That scene where he's driving down the motorway and he gets stuck.
It's so good.
I got stuck in the motorway and I was like, it happens. You're trying to get your jacket on.
It's in Uncle Buck as well, where the boyfriend.
Yeah.
Do you know what this is? It's a hatchet.
Oh, yeah.
It's a hatchet.
It's like a serial killer, didn't he, or something? Yeah.
You could skin an insect. An insect? Oh, I see similarities here.
Here's a quarter.
Hatchet.
Get someone to knock off your face.
So good.
Anything else on John Hughes, sir?
No, I'm good with John Hughes.
Nice.
John Hughes, yeah, great shout.
What's your number 3 then?
Clashy. We are James Cameron Central.
Oh, nice. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I just thought we spoke to him about Death, and I thought, I'll get a good mention in, but we've done it the same. I'm a big Cameron fan because I like Avatar 1 and 2 as well. And I'm a big fan of the Titanic as well. So all of the other ones that you didn't like, I'm a big fan of his. So
well, we never mentioned Piranha 2.
But I'm glad you said True Lies, because I was going to.
I love True Lies.
Going,
It's so good.
I want
No one's mentioned it.
wanna
I'm
say
sorry I took it away from you.
True Lies, like, but everyone's going Abyss, Aliens.
True Lies. I got snuck into the cinema to see it.
Did ya?
Yeah. I don't know if you remember the guy from school, Ben Ferrari.
Yeah.
It was me and Ben. We got into True Lies, and we sat down watching True Lies.
Well, the old ABC.
Yeah. Was it the ABC?
It would have been that. But
The
96.
Barmaid, or it was Barmaid.
It was the old
What Barmaid is, yeah.
What Barmaid was, yeah. Snuck into that. Watched that, yeah.
But me and obviously Phil's been on a couple of times, or one or two.
Yes, yeah. He loves the bad guy from True Lies, doesn't he? Yeah.
Me and Phil watched that film so many times that like I love I don't love it as much as him, but like I have that a connection with it because me and Phil watched that so many times, and like we have laughed so hard that bit where he just gets fired on the rocket. You know, like to me, it's just one of my greatest childhood sort of memories. Just.
I love the part when he's recording the message. One turn of this key and your country will be wiped out instantly. Who's taking the key?
I like the guy who wants to have to tell him the battery.
Because the battery's gone.
The battery's deceased.
The battery's
deceased.
But like, what is it? Like the Uzi takes out nearly as many people out as like everybody else at that film go down those stairs. Like it's
and Tia Carrera from Off the Back of Wayne's World as well. Like when she comes into that as well. Like.
No, I mean,
I don't know what that breath was.
we could talk about aliens just being. I mean, aliens.
Well,
have we mentioned aliens on this podcast? Maybe not on this episode, but maybe I don't know if it's been mentioned. But yeah, like there is so many good films with his, and like you said, the moment it says Cameron, you're like, ooh,
Yeah.
I'm sold. You know, pretty much. You know,
100%.
but Titanic, even the ones that aren't really liked about, I like. So it's kind of like, you had to kind of go on the list.
Yeah.
And I'll probably...
It's a no-brainer, isn't it? Banger after banger, wasn't it?
I have to sit there, maybe buy Avatar 4, and you got, like, Space Cats.
No.
Anything else on James?
No, that's... I think my mate James is all good.
Nice. Hopefully he's not going to pop up another 2 more times, but we'll see. Right, my number 3 is A Clash with John's 4, I think it was, is Steven Spielberg.
Oh, wow. Okay,
essentially, it should have been number 1 because he's one of his movies. He's my favourite movie of all time.
I thought it would be.
But I thought about this, and I think I spoke to Mario about this last week, saying, well, if I actually look back at his catalogue, he'd done some utter stinkers towards...
That's why he didn't make but he'd always be like the godfather of...
Yeah.
He just had his high
He's the godfather of my childhood, let's put it that way. And I'm sure to everyone else on this table, he is as well. Like John mentioned, Jaws, I watched constantly because it was on BBC all the fucking time. My dad watched Close Encounters. I still don't understand it to this day, but I like it.
I saw that in the cinema.
I can't deny Raiders of the Lost Ark is a big part of my childhood as well. Again, you can't have adventure without Indy. Sorry, Nathan Drake, fuck yourself.
But wait, and he did Indiana Jones as a favour to a mate.
Because George was going to do it, wasn't he, or something?
George was going to, and then George kind of looked at it and went, I don't think I've got the chops for this. And Spielberg went, no, you have. And then he went, no, you do it. And that was it.
And then he did it,
There was
Sorry, you were going to say something,
there was a limited series, and it was an alien one. It was set in Roswell, and then it was set in the 80s, and then it was set in the current day. It was set between a whole generation, and it had who's the little girl from Man on Fire?
Dakota Fanning.
Dakota Fanning. She plays the daughter in the third one, but her dad is the general who does the Roswell base.
What's it called?
I think I'm just about to find it.
He's looking up. But Spielberg was attached to it, was he?
I think he was the director of that.
Because that sounds familiar.
It was awesome. Back in like early 2000 or
2006, 2005 or no. I'll go back to so Empire Sun, you've obviously mentioned, John. Jurassic Park, the first one, favourite movie of all time. 2, not so much. He also made one of the scariest movies of all time, which is E.T. It still gives me shivers to this day. Hook, again, fantastic. We got to a point where he started going for that time of his career for the Oscars, which is like Saving Private Ryan. He went for AI. It's possibly maybe his last film I actually enjoyed was Minority Report. I really do like Minority Report. The duo with him and Tom Cruise is fantastic, apart from their second film. And then after AI, he sort of started doing like really all the serious stuff now because he's got the Oscar now, and it's like I'm going to start doing stuff more serious. So true story things, The Terminal, Catch Me If You Can, Munich, Warhorse, which is based on the play, I believe.
Yes.
Lincoln, which is probably the most Worst 2.5 hours of my entire life. And I actually sat through that in a cinema. So it has
end. It's like
Bridge of Spies wasn't too bad. Then you got The Post.
I like that.
Then I thought he kind of had a little comeback with Ready Player One. I thought this is where my childhood Spielberg came back, and I thought I really enjoyed that movie, but a lot of people may not like it as much. And then he went to go do West Side Story and The Fabelmans. And The Fabelmans, I was kind of intrigued because it's based on his childhood, his career, whatnot. And I thought it was going to go a little bit further, but it's actually just his childhood and how he starts off as a director. So it wasn't as good for me as I expected it to. But there are little nods to that film, as well as some of the things he says in Close Encounters. Like, his dad was having an affair with a woman. He's like, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. And there's a kid in Close Encounters that actually says that to his dad when he's building that fucking mountain thing in his room. He's like, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. So that's how it sort of connects with the two of it. Sort of. Exactly. Yeah. So I can't deny he's got to be on there. I still love these films to this day. Jaws is, again, my second favourite movie of all time. So he should essentially be one, but I think his backlog for me isn't just to go, I love this film, I love this film, I love this film, I love this film, because I have to be hand on heart say I don't. I'm scared of E.T. as well, so again, we can't watch that.
I can't, I'm so glad you say that, because I remember,
E.T.?
So when it first came out, my granddad had a hooky copy, John, on video, VHS.
Yeah.
And the opening scene of that is E.T. running through the forest, screaming.
Yes, and in the pitch black.
In the pitch black, and all you see is torches, the dogs, and him screaming.
And then John Williams' music goes quite scary.
I never got past that for about 5 years after that, until I actually... And then when I did, and I saw the rest of the film, I thought it was amazing. Yeah. Like, I loved every second, loved that film to pieces. But that opening scene, I didn't watch it for 5 years.
Yeah.
Like,
there's like these chilling shots inside his ship and everything as well. And it's just like, ooh.
My parents were sitting down because it was the new film out at the time. Like, we're going to watch this, we're going to watch this. I sat down on my granddad's sofa, all of the family are there, and they turned it off for everyone because I was screaming behind the sofa.
Yeah, too right. Then have you seen the new edition now? Like, he has a bath of Elliot. It's terrifying.
What, with the
walkie-talkies? Hold on.
Huh? With walkie-talkies?
Not so much, no.
I mean...
No, but
anyway, what's that series? What's that series?
Taken. Basically, 3 families experience alien abductions over a period of 5 decades.
Right.
So it's set from Roswell to current thing, and I think Spielberg might have put his a limited series, or
right.
But it was one of
he
those.
was involved in it, was he?
Involved in it.
That was
really
quite
good.
That was.
Really good. Kind of enjoyable. Just 10 episodes.
So can't deny Spielberg had to go on the list, and he was at number 3. So let's go to number 2s.
Number 2.
Back to the Gingerbread Man. How would your B list?
And this is a real number 2
because the other 3 were.
Oh my god!
How's it going to top 3? You can't top that now.
The film I've picked to get the director is Hell Comes to Frogtown.
Oh
yes, that's with Roddy Piper.
Roddy Piper.
Yeah. Don't think I've seen it, but I have heard of it. So
go and watch it now.
Roddy Piper has to impregnate the world.
Oh no!
The concept.
It was in They Live, wasn't he?
It was,
Yeah. He's
Much better, I imagine.
He's a famous wrestler.
Yeah.
John doesn't.
I do.
God.
John doesn't, his mum does.
Oh!
G,
very
you're
quickly.
dead to me, G.
The concept of Hell Comes to Frogtown, apocalyptic
I have a new
future.
fan. I've got a new fan now.
Apocalyptic future. The human race is coming to an end because Roddy Piper, and I can't remember the character's name, is the last man on Earth, and he has to or I think he's the last man on Earth who still is able to reproduce. So therefore, he has to go and reproduce with all the women on the planet.
Hey.
Inexplicably, toads and frogs have become sentient, and they are now the most dominant species on the planet. They're out to stop this from happening because they don't want man to retake the planet. It's directed by a man called Donald G. Jackson. Now, I saw this film when I was very, very young. My dad used to get VHSs on a Friday night. We'd all sit down and watch this. My mum went, "No, fuck this."
From where?
From
So we used to have a video van that came round.
Like the video fan of the video fan.
No,
Fell off that one.
This was from a genuine video shop. And my mum said, sod this, and so she sacked that off. So me and my dad watched this that night. I probably shouldn't have watched it, I was too young. But it was brilliant. It was Roddy Piper, it was frogs, it was science fiction, it was insane, it was rubbish. It was
It's like
brilliant.
Mad Max with frog people,
It
really,
is,
isn't it?
yeah. And, it's a recommended watch. So, yeah, Donald G. Jackson. Now, right, so this is quite a personal thing. So the interesting thing about Donald G. Jackson is that he invented Zen filmmaking. Now, Zen filmmaking is a distinct style of filmmaking where no scripts are used in the creation of a film.
Oh, okay.
Kind of explains Hell Comes to Frogtown.
So all ideas then,
Yeah. Spontaneous creativity. He said scripts limit the instantaneous nature of Zen filmmaking. Let me make it that what you will.
So it's improv all the way through then, essentially.
Essentially all the way through. 6 tenets of Zen filmmaking. Make all unpredicted situations work to your advantage. Don't waste time, money and energy attempting to create your sets. Use what you have. Just do it. 99% of the time you can get away with it. Never let your storyline dominate your artistic vision. Zen filmmaking is, I've already mentioned that, it's a spontaneous process. And ultimately in Zen filmmaking, nothing is desired and thus all outcomes are perfect. Ooh. Making this the best film ever made.
Not quite, because it was number 2.
Number 2. Literally number 2.
I don't know.
I would have put that at 3. I think the gingerbread one's still top 2. Yeah.
I'm going to chase up
I've
more
seen
what this guy
I've seen Hell Comes to Frogtown, though.
But Hell Comes to Frogtown.
That's his name, though. His surname is got Hell in it or something. Hence
He's
the term.
Sam Hell. That's it, Sam Hell. Yeah,
there you go. Yeah,
it's all gone to Sam Hell. I love this film. It is really, really good. But yeah, I'm going to have to chase up about Donald G.
You
Jackson.
can get it on Arrow video to watch it.
Yeah, it's an Arrow classic. But yeah, purely for Zen filmmaking, that's what I included.
Yeah. Nice. So what's the A-list then?
Moving on.
Come on.
Ridley Scott.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Blade Runner.
Oh,
okay.
Of course.
I think
that's your favourite of his,
for me, it's Blade Runner. Harrison Ford. Philip K. Dick, who wrote Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, which is what the story comes from. Yeah. Jean-Michel Jarre doing a banging sound.
100%. Was one of the best soundtracks ever.
And like you mentioned earlier,
don't forget
with the
Daryl
sequel,
Hannah. Sorry, I don't.
What? Who? I don't know what you're talking about.
And Rutger Hauer.
Rutger Hauer.
Yeah.
So let's come to that scene in a second, right? That famous scene. Yeah, Daryl Hannah. Yeah, another space
Pris,
babe.
wasn't it?
Pris. Yeah. The vision, the pure vision. So you mentioned it with the sequel and how he recreated that vision, but I don't think you would have any of what we have today without Ridley Scott.
Without Ridley Scott. I think Cyberpunk alone is what
came from this.
Yes,
everything comes from that. Like everything dark, gritty, futuristic.
Like the film noir tone of it as well and everything. It's just...
But it's also this Neo-Tokyo thing before Neo-Tokyo was a thing.
Which I love it, I think, because of this film. And if you watch some modern Star Wars TV shows, even Star Wars now, even Star Trek,
that into it.
It's all taken after what was presented in Blade Runner. The sort of genesis there is an interesting fact.
Oh, here we go.
Rob Grant and Doug Naylor, who did Red Dwarf, claim that Blade Runner is the genesis of Red Dwarf. Oh.
I can see that in the style.
So,
but
have you all seen Series 9, which is Back to Earth?
Yeah.
No.
Go and watch it.
Probably have, but I can't think.
We'll go and watch it. It's basically Blade Runner.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, because they're all in this sort of mindfuck dream, and it's Blade Runner.
Really?
Yeah.
In Red Dwarf?
Yeah, in Red Dwarf, yeah. Series 9, Back to Earth. Back to Earth. Go and watch it.
Okay.
Anyway, so that aside, so a little factor. For me, it's all about Blade Runner. But Ridley Scott, so Alien, Legend, Thelma and Louise, that I really, really
That is the one film I always forget Ridley Scott makes.
Yeah.
It has made.
But what a great film.
Yeah.
It's also
girl power.
divergent from everything else he's done.
Absolutely.
It's really weird. It's a buddy western more.
Now,
or less.
is it a film that he wanted to make, or is it a film he had to make something else?
No, I think it's a film he wanted to make
I think
because of the shots in it, and because of that end sequence, and because it's two strong female characters that he doesn't do very much anywhere else.
Before we had strong female characters.
This is it.
Very true.
And Brad Pitt's first film, wasn't it?
Brad Pitt. I don't know if it's his first film.
No,
first or second?
What's the California one? Was that?
That's after. That's after.
It could very well be his first film.
Did he do White Squall?
Ridley?
Yeah.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
Yeah. I like that one. And
Is that the sailing one?
Yeah.
Yes.
The boys in the American Gangster. I really like as well.
Yes. Later one, isn't it?
Gladiator.
Brilliant.
Gladiator.
Which you cannot deny brought brought back that genre of film.
It did, yeah, the epic, yeah.
Yes, because it was long forgotten after Ben-Hur and all that sort of
My
stuff, wasn't
cinema
it?
pass got a good battering for Gladiator.
100? Oh, my God, yeah.
Gladiator.
Yeah.
Well, I put Spartacus on Stanley Kubrick's list, so and I class Gladiator in the same vein as Spartacus. It is that kind of epic film that they used to make.
And Joaquin Phoenix in that as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's insane, but what a brilliant performance.
How he lost out in the award for that one, I have no idea.
No, don't know. Black Hawk Down.
Yes.
That's sniper
The
scene.
Martian, which I love.
I watched that
And-
the other day.
It's such a great film.
I mean, he does so good with that book as well. I've read the book and then to go into The Martian for
So this is the thing about Ridley Scott. Again, a visionary who can take something and he can give you the elements of that story, but then put so much more into it. And I haven't seen it yet, but Napoleon.
Yes,
I
that's
wanna see
that's
that.
the recent one, isn't
I've
it?
heard up and downs about
I've heard
it.
he looks too old. Like he's too old for where he should be in the camp. There's people are nitpicking
in
the
the
history,
campaign, right.
but they're saying like he was much younger than what they should. But to me, that doesn't do anything to me.
It doesn't really matter.
It doesn't
At
do
the end of
anything.
the
But
day.
that's what
Exactly.
people are already
Oh,
nitpicking. But
There's
that
always
going to
be people nitpicking.
I can't wait to see it.
I want to see it.
So I'm putting Ridley Scott on here for Blade Runner, but I absolutely admire this man for his filmmaking talent and the fact that I was on Premium Lane at Gatwick one afternoon.
No, when he come through,
And
don't
he
you dare
came
say
through,
come through.
he
Oh
came
my God!
through, and I was at the front and I scanned his ticket and I kind of recognised him. And the BA lady that was bringing him through said, "Oh, can you just sort of rush him through?" And it was very quiet. And I scanned his ticket and I looked at him and I looked at the ticket and it said Napoleon Dynamite.
Did he really?
Wow! Now apparently he uses
Dynamite on a plane.
he uses a different name every single time he comes
Oh
through.
wow!
I couldn't tell you what Ridley Scott. He could be sitting in front of me, and I would not know.
Oh, you wouldn't know?
I would not know who Ridley Scott is.
I know what he looks like, but yeah.
Well, you know his
Wow,
brother,
I like
don't you?
There you go.
Oh,
Yeah.
Tony Scott.
Tony Scott.
Yeah.
Did I know?
Did you know?
I didn't know that.
Mind blown. Did you not know who's his brother? Holy shit!
Today I like this film.
Oh
I
my
didn't want
God!
to say anything, but I didn't want to say anything, but yeah.
Nice.
It's
Anything else?
I
a good
assumed you
pedigree
knew.
there. It's a good pedigree.
Yeah, absolutely.
No,
Pedigree. Anything else in that, sir?
No. Purely for Blade Runner,
Good pick.
I love that film, and I agree with you. I think as sequels go, the sequel to Blade Runner is up
2019,
there. Yeah, absolutely, it's faultless.
Blade Runner's one of those ones where when I watched it as a kid, I was like, I ain't got a clue what this is about. My dad would always sit there and try and explain it to me, but not until like after college and stuff, I like really appreciated it more and
It didn't
got
matter
into it
at
more.
the time, and it's one of those. I don't know if any of you read Philip K. Dick. I absolutely love his stories, and there's a lot of films out there that
That are
have been
based on it.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
Total Recall and all that.
My mate loves him.
iRobot's one of them.
Yeah, no, that was Isaac Asimov. But,
Oh, of course, wasn't it? Yes, you're right.
He
Rules of it,
did. Oh my God, what's it called? Oh God, the Adjustment Bureau.
Yep.
I like that.
I mean, there's others. But yeah, it didn't matter that it didn't make sense. But he took what was essentially an unmakeable book and turned it into an amazing story.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it really is. And the tests they do in that as well with
Yeah.
the eye.
With the eye, it was
And you
yeah.
see- and so good. But also the thing that I like about it as well is my dad got me into that, and it was you like Star Wars, don't you? It's like, I like Star Wars. He goes, I'll watch this.
Yeah, this ain't Star Wars.
This is not. But no, it
This
was
is a slow burn Star Wars.
And he was going. I was going. Is that Han Solo? Is that Han Solo? Is this a sequel to Star Wars? Is this Empire? What is this? What is this? What is this? Because I hadn't been allowed to watch Empire, and then he put that on. I was like, what is it? 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 And then I sat there and watched it, and I was quiet the whole way through. I wasn't that old when I watched it as well.
I'm very surprised Harrison went to it because of him not liking sci-fi after the whole Star Wars debacle.
I think it was sold to him by Ridley Scott.
It had to be,
and
right?
I don't think it was sold to him as sci-fi. I think it was sold to him as like alternate reality police. Not documentary.
So
but
very,
police,
very
yeah.
quickly, yeah. Sorry,
Go for it. Go for it.
About the Rutger Hauer scene at the very end, where he talks about moonbeams off the rings of Saturn and all, and that very, very final line. It was all ad-libbed by Rutger Hauer, and
I heard that as well.
They kept
He's-
it in the film.
He is so good. Like
Yeah.
he's so underrated, and he didn't do a lot of films, and the ones he does are so good. And I remember him, especially in, I don't know if you remember him, John, from like the Guinness adverts.
Yeah.
He did all the Guinness adverts, and that was what I knew him from. And then I saw him in Blade Runner and was like, I'm scared of this man. And then I saw Blind Fury and was like,
Oh my God,
this man is amazing.
The Blind Ninja.
The Hitcher. Remember the
I love the Hitcher.
Yeah.
He
Scary
terrifies
film.
me in that film.
Scary film.
Yeah.
But I do remember, like you say, I do remember the Guinness ads and stuff. I mean, again, there's a quality.
He'll always be a hobo with a shotgun.
Of course. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he was. Of course he was. But Rick Deckard, it's Deckard. Yeah,
Deckard, yeah.
Deckard. So,
Not Deckard,
I
Deckard.
mean, I love Harrison Ford. He is my Hollywood dad, and I would marry him. But the characters of Han Solo, Indiana Jones, and Rick Deckard are my top three, and it's not just because of Harrison Ford,
Yeah.
because Ridley Scott created
Yes.
Rick Deckard in this film because it's not the same character from the book, and that's another reason that I like him as a director.
How is he a lot different from?
Very different.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. I'll let you read
Interesting.
it.
I need to read that now.
Yeah, awesome book.
Go on then, John.
The end.
My number 2 is Quentin Tarantino.
You can sit this one out, Mario.
I knew I was waiting for it because I know he doesn't.
Right, so first off, your favourite one of his.
Very, very hard to pick a favorite.
That's what she said.
What did I pick as my favorite of his? Inglourious Bastards.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I was going to pick Django, to be honest. I did have Django all along. It was Django. But I do like a good war film, So I liked what he did with Inglourious Bastards. Again, very controversial director. There's lots of things being said about him.
He's definitely a director that can direct dialogue.
Yes.
I think that's his best attribute, really, isn't it?
I would go, it's his soundtracks.
Yeah,
Yes,
that was what I was about to say.
It's-
If anything of
His music, to pick up a little thing.
because he even said like Kill Bill, he knew the music he wanted in that film. He just wanted to know how he was going to put it in the film. And he I don't like.
Then didn't he meet a band out in Japan or
Yeah.
something? And was like, no,
Yeah.
I want that song in there
And,
now.
so I don't like his film. I don't like his films. I don't like his filmmaking style. I find him too intense for me. And some of the scenes that he does, I feel are in my face and very much attacking me.
Right.
So I don't quite react to that very well. Some of his kind of the way that he's able to frame his shots is something completely different.
Right.
Like the Samuel L. Jackson one from Pulp Fiction, where he frames it right on Samuel L. Jackson's face. It's there. Samuel L. Jackson's looking in the camera and he's just kind of spouting off that Bible verse. And then it comes back and the screen goes from like Samuel L. Jackson's face to the room and just kind of takes it from that intensity to something even wider and kind of softer. That I enjoy, but I don't enjoy his storytelling in directing, in his direction. And I know that a lot of people will disagree with me on that, but I just...
Not everyone's a Tarantino fan today.
But his writing and his storytelling, I think, are phenomenal.
Yeah.
I think... what was it? The mini shorts that he did, where it was him, Rodriguez, and it had Kurt Russell.
Grindhouse.
They were awesome.
Eli Roth was the other one.
I enjoyed them.
I like Death Proof.
Death Proof's awesome.
Death Proof, and I like Grindhouse.
Planet Terror.
Planet Terror is awesome. Like,
I think they're great. It's such a great idea to do a back-to-back film sort of thing, and Tarantino be at the head of it. I thought that was great. I really liked that. But all of his, some of his other stuff, Django, I enjoyed. I wouldn't say I would go back and watch it for a second.
Django is one of my proper favourite films of all time. Like it, literally, like. I mean, I'm pretty much the same.
Are you Tarantino as well? Jump in then if you want. Absolutely, yeah.
I'm
Jump
exactly the same. Inglourious is my favourite only because of the war.
Yeah.
Django.
It was your number one war film, wasn't it?
Yeah. So
I can remember it was John's or yours.
So, and then Django is just, it's very hard to kind of watch, because of the dialogue, people walking in. You can't just have it. I couldn't watch it at work. I couldn't watch it.
No.
Whereas, it's not an easy to just whack on, but I love Django from start to finish. For me, Once Upon a Time got better each time I've watched it.
Yeah.
Because the first time I went in there, I felt robbed because I got robbed out of the Sharon Stone
Yes.
Sharon Tate.
Sharon Tate,
So I
yeah.
thought that's what I was getting. I thought I was getting.
See,
the
I never
Manson.
knew about that story
I thought
before I
was
saw
getting
it. So when I watched it, I was like, I ain't got a clue what's going on here.
I was all up for the Manson.
I must admit, I was a bit disappointed.
So when
with
he
that
comes
as
in,
well.
he does it. I was like, what the fuck was
he
that?
He could have added that little bit more, and he didn't.
But the second time I watched it, I thought, right, okay, I'm not going to let that bit annoy me. And
he didn't need to put it in there, but I would like to have seen it. But
that one, and for me personally, I really love Jackie Brown. Jackie Brown doesn't get
I
enough.
never got on with Jackie Brown.
Jackie Brown doesn't get enough love. But De Niro's character in that scene where he's just screwing across the car park, I find his.
He just shoots her in the car park, doesn't he?
Shoots her in the car park. I mean, it's one of those ones that's just like, oh fuck.
Where'd that come from?
really like Jackie Brown, but you go, you always forget to say Jackie Brown because, obviously, Pulp Fiction is good. Yeah. I like Kill Bill, but because that sort of Japanese is not my forte, is whereas Inglourious is a war, you've instantly got me.
It's an alternate World War II story.
But I love how he's taken a genre or a thing and he's made it cool. Yeah. He's made it fun, and he's made it easy, and he's made it edgy for me. Yeah. And it's basically his music taste. There's so many songs.
There's so much good music in his films.
There's that song in Django, is it? I Got a Name, where he's doing and that since Django's come out and since Shazam's come out on Spotify, that's in my yearly playlist.
Just his pick is weird because it's like you saying Django Western film. And there's that shootout, and fucking Tupac kicks in. It's just like, all right, it works.
But he went into this little was it High Fidelity, and he picked a record up there. And
I love High Fidelity.
The person who sold it to him didn't even realise that it was him. Yeah. It was Tarantino because he bought it. It was the music in Pulp Fiction,
right?
Like the and it turned out that guy was listening to it in the shop, and when he said he bought it from a little boutique from London, and then he clocked, oh fuck, that was Quentin Tarantino who bought that record. So and his music taste, there's so much stuff in there that I wouldn't think I like, but it just works.
But it works for the films.
The bit where it's black and white in Kill Bill,
I'm not.
Is it Crazy 88?
Is that,
Yeah. I'm not the world's biggest Tarantino fan. There are films that I like. There are films of his that I do not like. But I bought back in the late 90s, I bought a soundtrack of Tarantino. It was called a Tarantino Collection.
I remember that.
Yeah, it was great. It was like dollar bills.
Yeah, that's right.
And I loved every single song on that album, and it wasn't necessarily stuff that I'd heard before that I would listen to, but because of that, it changed, and this is a genuine story, it changed my musical taste from that point onwards, and I learned
the same thing. And
I learned to appreciate so much more music because of that one album, because of the fact that he was able to do that and make those films work.
Tarantino manages to do for me is a lot of directors will kind of go, oh, here's something that sells. Like Bay will do it with Transformers. I've got a pattern. But he goes, right, this is my story, this one. But my next one, I'm not going there. I'm going Western. I'm going.
So that's what I like. The thing that he's done that I like the most, and I don't like a lot of Tarantino, but is that he did the Japanese orientated story with Kill Bill 1, and then he went Western.
Yeah. He says he doesn't like to do sequels, but he classes Part 2 is not a sequel.
It was meant to be all one movie, wasn't it? It was Dimension Films that split it in two. Sorry, excuse me. That split it in two, wasn't it?
They said it wouldn't mark it as a whole film.
No, because they're very two different movies, aren't they? With all the actions in one and stories in two, isn't it?
I don't like the threat of him just. I'm doing 10. I know most people don't do 10 or do 10 good films, but we're up to 9, which means I've only got one more left of him, and it's kind of like I don't. Yeah, but there was only meant to be 10 doctors or something. I
was literally about to say 10. You stole it out of my mouth. The doctor could only regenerate 13 times.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that he kind of gets bored or something. But then I'm thinking 10 films is great.
It's a good number to finish.
There's an interview with him. I think it's an interview. It might just be word of mouth from someone else, which where he turns around and he says, I made these films in the early days and I didn't know what I wanted to see. And then I had the tools to make the films that I wanted to see, and I'm still learning to make the films that I want other people to see. and he's kind of building to a point where he's like, I'm honing my skills. There's still things I need to learn, but there's things that I've learned that I could show people, and that's what he's currently kind of doing. That's why, like, there is an evolution. Like Django, I don't think he's made it for me, but like, there's a feeling that film is made for an audience to enjoy and not for his own satisfaction.
Django I love because obviously we had, Christoph Waltz was so good.
Yeah.
And then when we brought him back, I was instantly hooked for it to be.
I also like his casting choices because
it works.
The thing I liked about Kill Bill was Daryl Hannah, Lucy Liu, like all kind of these actresses and actors that just kind of they're in the past, they're in the present, they're of the time, but also like he brings back his favourites, his childhood favourites as well, brings them in and puts them into these things, and that's quite cool, I think.
Yeah, Tarantino's one of the... If I listen to an interview, he will slate some of my favourite films, and like there's a lot
He's
of stuff...
such a talker, isn't he?
Yeah,
I can listen to that man talk for fucking hours, honestly.
And I'm like, I don't agree with like half of the stuff you say, but like everything you put on film, I agree with. So you must be like, you do know what you're talking about, and I just don't know how to...
He's the guy that comes up with the gay theory for Top Gun as well.
Yeah. But like he's just so. I liked it in because was he part of what's the vampire one? Dust Till Dawn.
Yes.
Robert
Rodriguez, but he wrote it again.
He wrote it.
Now I understand that that's the reason it's a film of two halves. It went from like a heist gangster film to a vampire film because he took over halfway through. Is that correct?
Yes.
Did he do the second half then, or did he do the first?
I think.
He must have done the first half because he's not an action director, is he?
He's not.
Apart from
So he
Gilmore,
must have done the first half, and then whoever took over for the second half. That's
Robert Rodriguez, yeah.
It was Robert Rodriguez, yeah.
What about John? It's your pick.
Oh yeah.
Sorry,
I was saying, I've got a few more things, but did you know
Ooh,
that he
fucking love that sound.
he creates his own fictional brands?
Yes, he
For
does.
his films.
Yes, like the cigarettes and stuff are all part.
You got the Kahuna Burger and
Kahuna Burger,
teriyaki donut. Stuff like that. He creates them, but it's like, did you know? Oh, you probably did. But in Django, there's a scene where Leonardo DiCaprio smashes his hand on the table with a glass.
Oh, he cuts himself.
He actually
doesn't he?
did cut himself.
keeps himself in it. Keeps him in character.
He just carries on the tape.
He deserved it.
Right, awesome.
Let's move on a bit now,
let's
guys.
go.
Mario, what's your number 2?
My number 2 leads on from my number 3 because he was inspired by him, and it's Kevin Smith.
See, that's.
I love this
I
man.
forgot about.
So
Kevin Smith.
this is what I was saying about his early stuff was good, but
Yeah.
his latest stuff is wank.
So I want to. Well, you say that. Clerks 3. Have you seen it?
I have seen it.
I cried at the end of
Did
it.
you?
I did.
I'm agreeing with him on that.
I liked Clerks 3. I hated Clerks. Well, no, I didn't hate Clerks 2.
Clerks 2 is awesome.
I enjoyed
Come on.
Clerks 2, and I enjoyed Clerks 2, and I loved the fact that he takes the piss out of the Lord of the Rings movies. It's it's a hiking movie.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, they've just gone on a really long
ready for
walk,
the third
have a little
movie?
bit of a chat, yeah, and that's it. I also love.
I just kind of felt 3 was so depressing. It's
yeah,
like...
but I think it needed
They're
to
all
be
depressing.
because they need to finish
Yeah,
it.
but on 2, it ended on a high note, and it's just like, let's bring depression into number 3 now. And
yeah,
I've not
I mean,
seen 3.
but on twofold as well because he splits up with Rosario.
she dies.
She's died, hasn't she?
dies.
And then, not to spoil
And
too-
pregnant with a kid and whatnot. I'm like, fucking hell,
it's just-
Jesus.
yeah.
You clearly didn't have a budget for it this time round.
No, she wanted to be in it.
Yeah, she's in it for a bit, though, isn't she?
But he came off weed, didn't he? That's what this is about. He came off weed, stopped writing.
But he had a
No, he had a heart attack.
No, he
wasn't
came,
it?
and he's come off weed.
Right.
Is this
he
the
was-
script or is this real?
No, this isn't his film, yeah.
It's both.
Oh, it's both.
Yeah, in real life, he had a heart attack, and he came off weed around the time that he was making this film, and so there's a kind of this dynamic of his brain kind of going, and everything's not worth it, everything's going bad, or that life is kind of precious and comes to an end, but it's still better than a fucking walrus film,
Yeah.
which was apparently there was an advert.
All yoga hoses.
Yeah, I ignore yoga hoses.
Do you know there's a third one of them to come?
Moose Jaws.
Yeah.
I'm actually quite looking forward to Moose Jaws. I really like the idea of that. But yeah, so this is the one where we were talking about earlier. Have you ever seen a film and has it made you go watch the back catalogue?
Right.
Yes. I hadn't watched Clerks. I'd watched Mallrats.
Yes.
Mallrats was my entry into it.
That was mine as well.
And Mallrats was like my film. One, it had Stan Lee in it, and it's the scene from Stan Lee where he just turns around and goes,
You looking at the cucumber inside?
that guy's got some serious issues. You might want to get him seen.
Keeps asking about if they extend their...
The Mr. Fantastic, when he everything stretches. but does it stretches.
But
The Hulk is it, yeah.
It's a comic book code thing.
Just the thing, have a rock dork.
My favourite
Everything.
little that quote is that it's like, it's a schooner. And he's like, it's a sailboat. Dumb bastard.
A scooter is a sailboat.
And the fact that he was punching well above his weight because he was seeing Joey Lauren Adams through that film.
Yes.
Did he do Chasing Amy as well?
Yeah, Chasing Amy was the one before that. And the Ben Affleck, and that I liked. So my next film after Mallrats was Clerks, because I was just like, let's go to the beginning and start from there. And then I didn't know he'd done Chasing Amy, and I can't remember what I watched after that, but I went into kind of all of his catalogue. Dogma, that was what I watched.
Dogma, yeah.
I like Dogma.
I went from
Dogma's
Mallrats.
awesome.
Dogma was my entry to Kevin Smith.
Dogma was so good, and being that we went to Catholic school as well, it was just
He got a lot of shit for that, didn't he?
Yeah. Oh, he got annihilated by the church, especially the Golgothan shit demon. That is so good, and the way he explained it as well, it made sense.
And that God was a woman as well.
God.
It's like
Alanis
everyone
Morissette,
kicked off about that.
Alanis Morissette, the two
Hayek.
angels, Loki and Bartable.
That movie has one of the best casts ever. Alan Rickman, you got Ben and
I'm as anatomically
Matt.
impaired as
Yeah.
a Ken doll. It's so good. Like and I can't remember her
Salma
name.
Hayek,
Salma
Salma
Hayek, but the main actress in it who plays the Muse, not the Muse.
What's her name?
I can't remember her name now. Apparently she was quite difficult, but
She is a difficult actress, yeah.
But
she doesn't act anymore.
no, I'm not surprised. But in that she's really good. But also Ben and Matt Damon, they're really good as the two angels. And the bit at the end where he's getting drunk and he's got his wings shot off, so good. But yet again, Red State, complete change of direction, complete change of film. Came before the Walrus film. I quite liked Red State. Zach and Miri.
Linda Fiorentino.
Oh, yeah.
That's it,
That's
Linda
it,
Fiorentino. Zach and Miri. I love Zach and Miri, but you can
Zach and Miri American Porno, yeah.
you can tell that he spent too much time around. What's his face?
Seth Rogen.
Seth Rogen.
Yeah.
You can tell he spent too much time around him. And the bit at the end of that with Jason Mewes, because in every film apparently Jason Mewes kept asking him, "When am I doing a new team? When am I doing a new team?"
Yes, he's finally done it, didn't he?
And at the last scene of that, he just walks around naked in the house. That whole thing is just so good.
Zach and Miri American Porno is quite underrated comedy, to be honest.
So good, everything about it. But Clerks holds a special place,
Yeah.
and Mallrats especially, 100% in. And then stuff that he's done from that, like the scene in that was cut is in the Ben Affleck Daredevil.
He's in it, yeah.
He's so good in that as well. And the one thing I love is he did the action. He directed a film that he hadn't written, Cop Out, and it was, and the title for that film before it was Cop Out is so good. Do you know what that was?
Go on.
A Couple of Dicks.
Was it really?
As in, they were supposed to be detectives, and the old name for a detective
Was Dick, yeah.
A Couple of Dicks. And that I thought was really good. But yeah, I quite like that as well. He then went to do. He was acted in the Bruce Willis Die Hard after that as the kid in his the guy.
He's in Die Hard 4, that's right.
Yes,
Yeah.
in the basement, he's the hacker.
Yeah.
And he said it was the least stereotyped role he'd ever done because he's never hacked anything.
Yeah.
Doesn't know a computer. But also when he did Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back.
Strikes Back.
Back's amazing. Reboot is literally the rehash, and he says that it's the rehash of that.
It's terrible.
It's terrible.
So bad.
So bad. But Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back and Mark Hamill at the end as Cockknocker.
Oh, amazing.
Again, a fantastic cast in that film.
It's such a great film, and it's got George Carlin.
It does, yes.
Carrie Fisher.
Yeah.
And the whole way through, he's trying to get Carrie Fisher to
Trying to go down on her.
Yeah. So good.
What's your opinion on Jersey Girl?
So, I can't watch Jersey Girl
Okay.
because of Jennifer
Lopez.
Lopez.
Yeah.
And she's only in it for the first part of the film. Yeah, and she just irritates me enough. But also the film story itself doesn't really touch me. So I haven't actually watched it in its entirety. And I've watched the bloody Walrus film in its entirety.
You watched Tusk.
I watched Tusk
in its entirety.
And like, I don't know why.
Sorry, Chris, you were going to say something.
Have you watched Comic Book Men?
Yes,
I love Comic Book Men.
I love Comic Book Men. I've been to the store. I've got a signed book, and I got served by Walter.
No way! Nice.
I went up to the counter and I was like really sheepish. So Sam had gone with us, and we were driving. We'd gone from Atlantic City where we started, and we drove. Not Atlantic. Yeah, it was Atlantic City. We drove to New Jersey, and then we were going to New York, and we drove to there. We parked around the corner, and I had to keep popping out the shop because I spent too long procrastinating about talking to him and buying a book that I kept going out and feeding the meter where we'd parked.
No way! How awesome is that?
And then eventually I went up to him and was like, "Oh, have you got?" And I can't remember the book they made, but it's basically like a carnival of animals and horrors, and they're all kind of mutants.
Cryptozoic Man.
Cryptozoic Man. I've got Cryptozoic Man. It's signed by him.
Well, issue 1.
And Brian.
No way.
It's not the issue 1. It's they did the
graphic novel.
I
didn't know they did that.
And I've got the signed version of that, and it's signed by him, and it's got artwork in the front of it as well by Walter. And I'm always kind of like a little bit suspicious. He goes, "Yeah, we've got one. It's not signed by Ming." I went, "I don't care. I'll just have it signed by whoever." And he left the room with a book in his hand, which means that Mike and
we're in the other room.
We're in the basement of the actual shop.
Oh shit!
And he got them to sign it there and then.
Fantastic.
And come out. If I'd known, I would have asked this. Like if I had the balls, I would have asked to see them.
Brilliant.
But Sam bought like a couple of Kevin Smith signed books. But yeah, he is. I've seen him live.
Me too. Yeah, the Q&As.
I saw the Q&A. I've also seen him do Hollywood Babylon live as well. Yeah, him and Ralph Garman.
Those Q&As are fantastic. You cannot deny some of the stories he puts on there is just
the Superman one. They asked for a giant spider
one of the funniest things ever. That is that one and the Prince one.
Oh, the Prince ones. Yeah. The Superman one I love so much because it's like they wanted me to do it, and the one he sold me was, "What's the most dangerous animal in the world? What will kill anyone? Spiders." Yeah. Because you've got to put Superman versus a giant spider at the end of the film. I don't think we can. No, it's got to be a giant spider. It's got to be a giant spider. And then they cancelled the film. And then what came out? Wild West. Yeah. And it's a giant mechanical
I love it
spider.
when he spoke to the producer and asked who would you cast as Superman. He said Sean Penn.
Yeah.
He goes, Sean Penn, really? He goes, yeah. Have you ever seen that movie Dead Man Walking? He's got the eyes of a violent caged animal, a fucking killer. And Kevin Smith goes, dude, it's Superman. It's so good. It's amazing.
I was gutted when they cancelled it or they didn't renew it.
I used to run a comic book shop.
No. Sorry.
A very talented, kind young gentleman did some artwork for my shop window and various other bits and bobs. What was the artwork based upon?
Clerks, the cartoon series.
Clerks, the cartoon
Was
series.
It really?
It was. I turned around to him and I said, I want... Is it Jason Silver? Is it
Jason to Silver.
Jason to Silver. So I said to him, I want that style of artwork in the window of my shop, and it was because of Comic Book Men and Kevin Smith that a lot of what we did at the shop existed. So yeah, we've talked absolute length.
It's just it's one of the reasons why I'm glad you guys did it, because now I can actually live Comic Book Men now. You know, I don't have to go to Jersey; you just go up the road.
That's literally one of those things when people go, if you went back in time, what are you doing? I'm literally always going back for Action Comic number 1.
Yeah, because
or I'm buying something like
Hulk 460 and 461.
When was you watching it when it was like actually on? Because I was watching it way back in 2011 when it first premiered and stuff.
I was watching it,
and no one else knew about it.
I was watching it the weekend it came out.
My mate Marcel was watching it. I went, "What's this?" And I watched a few episodes, and then I was like, "There's like, was it 8? It was quite a few." And I ended up,
and this is how I had even more knowledge about
the whole lot
stuff that was like limited.
I was STL on security, and I was downloading them
was you?
Night shifts so that I could watch them when I got home.
Nice.
Yeah, I was doing it. So Chris, not the biggest comic book man in the world, but I gave him all the comic book, and I said, "Go and watch this." And it educated him to the nth degree.
It's
amazing,
so good, and like they were so good. But Kevin Smith, like he was who I wanted to be if I knew how to put what I wanted into film.
Right.
And I didn't. I could storyboard. I could use anyone else's ideas and draw them.
But how he started his career, he sold his comic books to get
he sold
everything, cameras, everything,
maxed out credit cards, everything, and now from where he is and what he's doing, he owns a cinema himself. He's still producing and making films.
A lot of TV as well now, isn't it? Yeah.
You talked about Reaper, and I downloaded Reaper and watched Reaper. I loved Reaper. It was such a novel idea, and it was beginning to build pace. And just as it built pace, like a lot of stuff, it just kind of went, to hell with it.
But they never answered the question. They never answered the main question. They hinted at it.
Don't spoil it, for fuck's sake, John.
Well, they never answered the question.
But yeah.
It's 42.
But yeah, there's my number 2, Kevin Smith, who always quotes John Hughes as being his influence.
Yes,
He
that's
always
right.
says that John Hughes is a big influence in what he did, and without the early stuff, the 16 Candles, Breakfast Club and all that, he said he didn't realise when he went to film school he wanted to write dialogue and film dialogue, and he said he didn't know of anyone else that did it until someone went, John Hughes? And he went, who? And went back, watched John Hughes films, and that was it. From that point forward, he was, I can do dialogue, I can do that, and he does dialogue very well.
Yeah, he's another one with Tarantino. He's very dialogue heavy, isn't it? Especially Chasing Amy's fucking. Yeah.
Chasing Amy's amazing.
That's one I can have in the background and just listen to it, as a podcast or something.
Just shut the world off and just listen to it.
That's my weakest one of the lot.
Really?
Yeah, the ones I don't.
No,
you haven't seen Touchstone?
No, I haven't.
Don't seriously.
No, that's not one I've watched it. I don't think I'm watching it again.
Chasing
the
Amy,
others.
Chasing Amy, I really do rate. I put
underrated.
I put that one kind of level peggings with Clerks. Like they both have that heart. I mean, Clerks is it's very teenagey, very kind of angsty, and you get the idea that he's kind of writing stories. But Chasing Amy is very serious, and Chasing Amy was weirdly written for his brother. He wrote it because his brother's gay.
His brother's gay, yeah.
And he wanted some sort of acceptance, but he wasn't willing to write a gay story, so it directly revolved around his brother. So he wrote another story, and I just love finger cuffs.
Watch the movie and you'll find out.
Yeah.
So your number 2, Chris, was
Quentin
Tarantino.
Yeah.
Right, so I'll go to mine then. My number 2 is A Clash with Howard. Ridley Scott is my number 2. Again, very close to number 1 because Alien's one of my favourite movies of all time. I'll just go into the ones that you left out, Howard. So Legend.
I said Legend.
Did you say Legend? Sorry, beg your pardon. Tim Curry is one of my favourite actors of all time, and he is phenomenal as the devil in that movie. Just fucking...
And very young Tom Cruise.
Very young Tom Cruise. Black Rain's another one.
Yes,
with Michael Douglas. Yeah, again, Japanese crime, isn't it? Yeah, Yakuza. Matchstick Men is a very underrated and very good. Yeah, Ridley Scott movie. He plays the con man and stuff, isn't it? Do you say Hannibal?
No,
Hannibal's on there as well.
I forget he done Hannibal.
Yeah, he did Hannibal. And again, this was a year straight after Gladiator as well. Yeah. And he was filming Hannibal and Black Hawk Down very much at the same time as well. I'm also going to mention that he done a few stinkers, like for example, A Good Year, Body of Lies, Robin Hood, and The Counselor.
Yeah, Robin Hood was a bit.
But then Blade Runner was his last sci-fi film up until 30 years later when he decided to come back with Prometheus.
Yes.
Now, a lot of people dispute whether they love or hate that movie. I love Prometheus. One of my favourite prequels of all time.
Because Aliens is your thing.
Yeah.
So.
But no. You did mention Prometheus?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't specifically.
Oh, that's why you didn't. Right. Okay. You could have put it in. That's fine. No. I would still mention it regardless. Love or hate it. It's one of those films where I love to watch and just still try and guess what happens, even though the movie never really gives you any answers in a way. It still plays on my mind. Oh, maybe this is the case or that's the case. That's why I love watching that movie. Again, not many people like Alien Covenant as well, but then again, he's sort of swaying towards the thing is with Alien Covenant. It was meant to be something else, and then studio got involved and fans got involved, and then it ended up being something completely different. So that was a bit of a shame for it. But then towards now, the end of his life, I mean, he's in his 80s, still directing at the end of the day. I'm not interested in stuff like the House of Gucci or Napoleon. Don't really want to bother with that. But if you do get a chance to see it, The Last Duel is a very recent film of his he did 2 years ago. I think me and John saw that at the cinema.
That's amazing.
And it's actually written by Ben Affleck and Matt Damon as well.
Very good.
But it's very, again, 3 stories in one. Very good from different perspectives. So it's fantastic how that's done. It's the same scene, but through different eyes of the characters. But you cannot deny that fucking fight scene at the end is brutal and typical Ridley Scott, how he films it and stuff as well. But going back to what you were saying, Howard, about his eye, his keen eye, always, he just has a passion for, how, Mario making about he makes his own storyboards. He knows what he wants straight away and how he does it and the shots he gets. And when he's like just shooting landscapes, for example, it's just absolutely gorgeous to look at. Even with something like Legend, even though it's all in the studio, how he's got people to build this forest and make it look like it's actually outside.
It's just Prometheus as well, the landscapes where he gets that.
Well, he'd done it in Iceland, wasn't it?
Yeah. And no real. Well, there's a little bit of colouring in it, but the colours are like blues and cold for cold. And
they're kind of washed out.
And then when you go into like Legend, the red for the super hot.
Yes.
He really does pick up on that quite a lot. Like pulls in those colours.
Just such an amazing eye. I'm just a bit downed about his later movies. Otherwise, he would have been on the number 1 spot. But we'll go to that when we get to it. I won't go too much in it because Howard's already mentioned the majority of Ridley Scott. So we will move to the number 1s.
It's number 1.
Bring it home, sir, with the B's and A's. What's the number 1? What beat Ginger Dead Man? God, I really want to know.
Come on, yeah.
Well...
Ginger Dead Girl.
Yeah,
Number
the Passion of the Crust. Please tell me that.
Oh no, it was a good film. Number 1 on the B movie director list is by a director called Quentin Dupieux.
Okay.
The film I've picked it for is called Rubber.
Oh, I've seen Rubber. There's the tyre with the tyre.
The tyre that can explode people's minds.
I love the opening scene to that movie.
Right, so that's, just so they know I'm not bullshitting, please explain the plot of this film.
It's literally just a rubber... Well, you've just said it. It's literally a rubber tyre that kills people.
The beginning of this film... Well, I mean, there's a bit of a subplot with some characters. Oh, we won't ruin it because you have to watch it.
Don't ruin that.
No, you have to watch it.
But the opening scene is fantastic. It's literally...
Is it not a very clever film?
Of course it is, by far. But I love how the opening scene is... So it's a road, and it's got tables on it with water. Just tables, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
no, there is water.
There is water. And then the copper comes along, he knocks all the tables down for no reason, gets out, and then he explains certain plot scenes in movies, like why did E.T. do this? Why did Superman do that? And every time he says he says no reason. And it's always the case, no reason.
No
so
reason.
he's kind of indicating why this movie has a killer tyre in it. No reason.
There is no reason.
Yeah.
And I just love how it builds on that. And then it's all, the rest of the movie is about people watching this tyre kill people and stuff. Carry on.
It stops being about the tyre. It starts being about the people watching this being filmed.
Right.
And, but the whole scene with these
believe you
people...
mentioned this.
I mean, they're in the desert just going like this. Eating popcorn. Oh, what's going to happen next? Oh, the tyre's about to do something. But this tyre literally just lifts itself out of the dirt and starts learning to roll. And there's this very whimsical sort of music in the background. You think, what sort of film is this going to be? And then I think it comes across a hair. And I'm not going to spoil it by saying this, but it starts shaking. The tyre just starts shaking. And then the hair, it has its eyes fixed on the tyre. And then the hair blows up. And then the tyre realises it can kill things with its mind. And it just goes off on a fucking rampage. And it is a genius film. And after it, I literally sat down and went,
look it up.
What the hell was that? But it's very clever in the way that it's made. And I actually turned to my partner at the time and I said, do you know what? I said, the way that it's actually more about the characters than the tyre.
Yeah.
And the way that the characters interact with each other. And the kind of the relationships and that sort of thing. That is why I think it is a brilliant film. So this director, Quentin Dupieux, do we remember The Flat Beat with Flat Eric?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
So that was by a gentleman called Mr. Oizo.
It's not him, is it?
That is him.
No.
Yeah, so it was the Levi's ad in 1999.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Quentin Dupieux is Mr. Oizo. And for that reason alone, that's why he's on this list.
Go watch it. It's awesome.
It is a brilliant film. It is brilliant. And I mean, the sheriff, I mean, I think...
he's brilliant in that
He's
character.
brilliant, yeah.
I think he's awesome.
You're not sure what to make of him to begin with, and then you really like him in the end.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Quentin Dupieux.
So what's the number 1 A list?
The the grandfather of our childhood, Steven.
Stephen. Oh, nice.
Every single reason that everybody has mentioned him already on any of these lists. For me,
What's the favourite?
it's Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Nice.
Okay, I'm glad you said that. Take him out of it.
Yeah.
No, that's the Big Bang Theory. Don't you dare
Take
do
Indiana
that.
Jones out
Yeah,
of
but
it.
it could be the same with Dial of Destiny. If you take him out of it,
You take him out of any of those films,
it's still going to happen.
everything that happens at the end happens, regardless. But he's a great carrier of those storylines.
Oh, he does,
Of,
yeah.
of those kind of relics and the ideals.
Oh, it will all still
Does anyone
happen.
know how he gets in the sub?
In fact, the only one is Last Crusade. Last Crusade, it matters what he does because of his dad. But other than
that's
that,
the outcome. He doesn't get in the sub because the sub doesn't submerge.
Ah.
You hear it, but
You hear it
so the
submerge.
theory is that he doesn't submerge because how the fuck was he getting?
Yeah,
that
because then
sub?
you see the red line afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
It
shit.
can't theoretically submerge because he can't get in. He would drown.
Yeah, because I always thought, yeah.
You see a periscope
No,
go
no.
down, you hear the tone in the background, so you think, oh, it must submerge, but it can't. 'cause
No, you
it
can't. You're
get
quite
in
right.
itself.
You're quite right.
can't.
That's like finding out Tony Scott's brother.
Raiders of the Lost Ark. Now, I think I've ribbed Gal to death about the fact that
I'm so glad I've got an indie defender on me now.
Oh no, I'm
I will
except
literally-
after 3, and then I'm all
No,
up.
even
I like 4 and 5. I like 4 and 5.
even Crystal
I do.
Skull,
I
even
like
Dial of
that
Destiny.
CGI monstrosity, and then when you start going back in time, I was like, no. I like
it.
my
The only thing I
Indiana
find-
Jones just picking him off a shelf.
The only thing I find unbelievable in any of those films is that Harrison Ford is running. I mean,
Which he only does in the first one, right?
no, so in the last film he runs as well, and he runs between the trucks, and it's like watching your granddad going for that last peanut or something. Like it just.
It was just so CGI'd so bad that I just like it done me with what I didn't like on the fourth one, so it changed that one. But then it just went a bit too CGI. It had everything that it was going to be, but I like my India. Just I don't need it to do. I mean, they do it with the Raiders with the spirits coming out and stuff, but it lost me with.
It's like Ant's got a saying, right? It's leave your brain at the door.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
And that's what I like about Indiana
I
Jones.
can.
All I'll say,
Because I like the other 3 so much that it's just like
you are entitled to your opinion.
Of course.
yes, I am wrong.
No, I love Indiana. I do. I love Indiana Jones. I love Harrison Ford. I will defend Crystal Skull and Dial of Destiny purely because I just love the genre. I love the character. I get what you mean.
Yeah,
totally
I
understand.
love indie still. It's like I'll always go and see an indie film. You know, it will always have me.
Patrick Flannery.
Indie's magic was the practical effects for me. That was what.
It was the whip in the hat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like the way and when they went past that.
And there's no time for love, Dr. Jones.
No, Dr. Jones.
But purely
That's
for
from
purely
Clerks.
for yeah,
It is.
Yeah.
No time for love. don't
Purely
you
for
fucking
Raiders,
kids.
I just love Steven Spielberg. Yes, you've got Jaws, you've got Close Encounters, comedies like 1941, E.T., Empire of the Sun, kids films like Hook, Jurassic Park, Schindler's List, Saving Private Ryan. So please, can we do this? TV shows, right?
Yeah.
I am one of the planet's biggest Columbo fans. I
like
love Columbo. He is
I like Columbo.
next to Sherlock Holmes. He's probably the greatest detective that has ever lived.
Yeah.
Because he's got 100% success rate.
Success rate, yeah.
Same universe. Steven Spielberg directed what is officially the start of the series. There were 2 kind of pilots, but he directed Murder by the Book.
Did he?
Yes, he did, which is technically the first episode, and it is one of the best episodes of Columbo you will ever see. And I didn't know it was Steven Spielberg, and
I
in the
never
end it
knew.
said Steven Spielberg. I'm like, fuck me.
Spielberg set off the idea as well that you knew who the killer was and how they did it. You just didn't know how Columbo was going to get
You have
there.
to suss him out.
And it was a completely different way of doing it because at that point everyone had done you see the hands
The mystery.
or you see
The mystery of it.
and there are clues everywhere. In this point there was no mystery at all. You knew who'd done it, you knew how they'd done it, you just didn't know how this bumbling fool of a detective, this Clouseau kind of character was going to get there. And it was Spielberg that kind of directed it that way. You went, no, we're going to put the end at the beginning so you know who's done it.
And I think it was Spielberg that even described him as like he's basically the angel of death because he's coming for you. It doesn't matter what you think. If you think you're cleverer than him, he will come and he will get you, and that is it. That is it for you. Because the well trodden path of detectives was that it was a bit of a mystery and we all worked it out together. But it was the audience already knew how the hell is Columbo going to figure this one out, and he does it every time. But yeah, so Spielberg directed the very first episode of that. I love Columbo, I love Raiders, I love Indiana Jones, I love Spielberg. I'm not going to say anymore.
Good shot.
Nice. Good shout, sir. John.
It's already gone.
Number one.
Ridley Scott.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah.
He's your number one, yeah?
Yeah,
For what film?
and Blade Runner was going to be
Was going to be your pick.
Oh, I'm
Anyway, so that's
sorry,
all
mate.
gone. No, that's all right.
Commentary corner.
Yes.
Oh, good fucking shouts.
Yes.
Good
But I was
shout.
going to mention
Double bill.
You didn't mention Kingdom of Heaven.
Oh, yeah.
Which one?
One of his
See,
films.
yeah, because it's wank.
No, it's not. Why?
So I forgot to mention Exodus as well. Exodus is
Yeah. American Gangster. He's done quite.
American Gangsters, yeah.
I like that.
So yeah, but yeah. So
I like it.
I like it. Yeah, I like it.
Fuck it. What can we say?
Mario, what's your number one?
So you've all done these arty kind of well-known directors and great directors. I've done
Tommy Wiseau.
I've got Tommy. No, I've got Quentin Tarantino's mate.
Oh, Eli Roth.
No,
Oh.
Robert Rodriguez.
Rodriguez is your number one.
I love
Nice.
Rodriguez. So first Rodriguez film I ever saw is a kids film. Spy Kids.
Spy Kids.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
And he did.
yes.
He did.
He's done all three of them, didn't
He
he?
did all three, even the recent one
Banderas.
as well.
Oh, we did the recent one. I didn't know
And
that.
so we were talking about people who put their cousins and people in their films. So you've got J.J. Abrams always puts his cousin in his film, and in his TV series, he was in Lost. He was the police officer in Lost.
Okay.
In this, Danny Trejo.
He's in
everything that Robert Rodriguez did. So much so, and everyone liked Danny Trejo that he wrote and directed a film specifically for Danny Trejo.
Machete.
And the sequel, Machete Kills.
Oh, God.
They're
There's a
amazing.
sequel.
Yeah, and so you've talked about this film a couple of times, Desperado.
Yeah.
So
Brutal.
Desperado was my walk into, I say walk, my kind of smack in the face. And it came out around the same time as, I don't know if you remember, there's a TV show that used to be on Channel 4, and it was Johnny, I can't remember his name, he used to be a radio DJ. He used to do like a
Johnny
film,
Vaughan?
Johnny Vaughan. And he was doing a film kind of 95, but what it was is, he would get members of the public in, 4 of them, they'd watch the films that he'd chosen, and then they'd make a review of it.
Right.
So Clerks was one of these, Desperado was one of these. And I watched Desperado after watching this, and basically what they'd said on there was, it's all right, it's just really loud and flashy. And I went, sounds like a film I'd like. So I watched Desperado, and it's phenomenal.
It
It's
is.
great.
It's got some great
What
gunfights
I
in that
didn't
movie.
realise was it was a sequel
It's not.
Yeah.
to El Mariachi.
El Mariachi's.
Desperado is a remake of El Mariachi.
Well, no, it's not.
But that's what he sells it as.
He sells it as, but
It's
it's,
the
not.
American
It's the
version.
American version,
Yeah,
but,
yeah,
it's,
yeah.
but it's completely not.
No, I know.
And
But doesn't the original actor come
Yeah.
back in this one?
he's one of the brothers.
That's it.
Yeah.
He's one of the guys
So-
with
so
the cases.
The original actor plays Antonio Banderas' character, and Antonio Banderas isn't in the first one. And then you kind of had this evolution of revenge, and it's what it's all about. And he comes to this town, and they want to hound him out, and all that sort of stuff. And then he has the affair with the wife of the gangster, and then they attack him and leave him for dead. And then the brothers come in, and each one of them has a different guitar case with a different weapon.
That's it.
inside
One's
it.
got a
One's got
minigun.
the minigun inside. One's got a rocket
That's it,
launcher
yeah.
in it.
And they reload like that.
And so from Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah.
So we talked about this a lot. So Danny Trejo yet again in that. Salma Hayek yet again in that. And then you've got the band.
Yeah, they some of the band guys are in Desperado.
They're in because that's
Is that the mariachi band?
that's the mariachi band. In some of the films that you see, they're an actual band, and they're on the soundtrack for from Dusk Till Dawn as well as
Yes,
the mariachi
that's right.
band. Well, they're an actual band, and they're also in El Mariachi. They're also in Desperado. They're obviously in from Dusk Till Dawn. They make appearances in Machete in the background.
Mind
and
blown.
Machete, like they are relatives and a local band of Robert Rodriguez.
Right.
And so, like all of his stuff, I just really like it, the idea and the wackiness, and not is it not Death Proof that he did, or was it Desperate? Yeah, it was Death Proof, I think, the one that he did.
He did
No,
Planet Terror.
Planet Terror, that as well. Like, and in most of the films he does, you get the cock gun.
Cock gun, yeah.
And I just think it's brilliant. Like I really like Robert Rodriguez's style. I like also the fact that he goes backwards between kids' films and adult films,
Yeah.
and they're both action. Like the kids' films are accessible, but also that he gets Danny Trejo in Spy Kids as well as their butler.
He's like the butler or granddad or something or whatever.
He's the nanny, essentially.
The nanny, that's it.
Who looks after the kids.
Isn't that one of the only films he doesn't die in?
Yes.
Yeah.
that and Machete, but yeah.
Yeah, because that was one of his stipulations.
Yeah.
He had to die
in every film.
Every film.
Yeah. And Robert Rodriguez, he's my number one because Desperado kind of gave me that Spanish kind of film look, and the hero,
the Mexican side of it, if you will.
The hero isn't always the hero. And the one that I didn't like was Once Upon a Time in Mexico. And I think the fact you had a blind Johnny Depp didn't help it. Johnny Depp's character in that was just a bit cardboard.
Doesn't he play two characters?
He's like a CIA agent or something, isn't he?
Yeah,
or
and then he
undercover?
He plays... you're right, he plays two characters, but they're the same person. So he plays like a CIA agent, and then he plays this killer, like contract killer.
I thought they were separate characters.
They are, but they're not at the same time.
Yeah, that's why
it's
I
like
lost
a split
the plot on that one.
psyche sort of thing going on.
Okay.
And then Antonio Banderas, by the time they'd done Once Upon a Time in Mexico, I think Antonio Banderas had got to the point where he'd had enough of doing action films, because he'd done the one with Stallone, Assassins. Yeah, I just really like the style. I really like the kind of... He gets this traditional Mexican and then just adds action and thriller to it and just gives it something
There's some
else.
cracking gunfights as well.
And the effects in Desperado, they're all non-CGI. They're all real effects. They're all real explosions.
That's good.
For God's sake, you see the rocket come out of the guitar case. Like the little flap at the front just open and the rocket comes
Remember
out.
the bar scene where he just pushes the guy off of his legs and he's in the air and he shoots him like 10 times.
Yeah.
It's like one would have done it.
Yeah.
But because it's Rodriguez, you've got
just
to have
keeps
the whole
going with
thing.
all the guns, side guns, the full works. It's so good. Going back to, I just remembered something that Quentin Tarantino directed that I really liked. It was an episode of ER. It was so good. But yeah, Rodriguez to the
I'm
core.
surprised you didn't mention Sin City. I think that's his masterpiece for me.
The reason I didn't mention Sin City is because of Frank Miller and the book. And it follows the books really well. That Little Yellow Bastard and all of those. It follows them really well, and it colours exactly the same as the books, the black and white. The reason I didn't is for the same reason, like, I really like Watchmen, but it's all done there for him. He doesn't really add anything creative to it as far as I'm aware.
Yeah.
Like, the pictures are already there. The vision's already there. As where Desperado, it's not a book. It's not something someone else... El Mariachi, for God's sake. It's... the guy is in the wrong place at the wrong time. He's just a mariachi and he just uses guns. Like, it's...
So the simplicity of it, if you will, yeah.
And kind of, you see everything. Like, the Mexican landscapes, the Mexican villains, everything about it is just so kind of that. And then you get Death Proof. And then, Planet Terror, which is like this sci-fi kind of world, and the girl has a machine gun for a leg. And it's Rose McGowan as well, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
A hot Rose McGowan. Where did
Before she went bald.
Yeah, Jesus. Where did the concept for a leg machine gun come from?
No, go.
Ash Williams from Evil Dead.
Oh, of course, the chainsaw
Hand, yeah. Because it was like, we need something like this in this film, and they went, "Whoa,
that makes a lot of sense." That makes a lot of sense.
But yeah, and of course the three of them, like Eli Roth, Quentin Tarantino, doing that kind of mini shot. I just really admire Rodriguez and what he kind of comes out with. And like I say, not many people would put him at number one. But I just like his style. I like everything he's done.
It's your pick, mate. Nice pick.
That's me done. Very good. Waxing lyrical.
Oh.
Go for it, Chris.
Yeah, no, similar to him, like, for my number one, I like his style and the way he portrays a story of a certain thing that's happened in time, basically. My number one is Ron Howard. Ron Howard is literally one of my favourite. Like, the moment I see his name come up, like, for me, out of all of them, it's like, I'm sold.
He was the one that I took off my list for George Miller.
Was he? Like, yeah. So, like, it was like, I was well up for seeing the new, was it 13 Lives? Yeah. And I was like, because I was like, so that happened. I was like, I'll wait for the film on that one. And then I was like, and then it said, directed by Ron Howard. And I was like, fucking get in there. Because it's just made that film like, I really want to see it, but now I really want to see it. And he does like tension really well. I mean, in Apollo 13, the tension on that ship is intense. They're not even like the most spectacular films, but they're like Apollo 13 is one of those films that I will watch hundreds of times. Yeah. Start, finish, middle, end. You just like, oh, there it's on, flick it on. But my favourite one is it's very hard, but Ransom. Ransom or Rush. For me,
I forgot he did that.
For Rush, I can watch.
Rush is good.
Rush would need a few years. It would have been in my top 5, and it pretty much. I just love it so, and I'm not even a big F1 fan, but I love watching a sport. Even sports I don't like, but F1 seems to do films really well.
Yeah, so I remember that era. You know, I was watching Formula One then.
Yeah,
so I remember,
James
Niki Lauda, James Hunt. I remember that was what you tuned in for the race for. If you knew they were in it, which they were, quite a lot of them because of their rankings, you always knew, there's going to be some bit of a tension going on here. But the funny thing is, I've never seen the film. I really want to watch it.
Literally,
I'm going to have to watch
it. It's brilliant, and it does it so well. But there's films that, like, was it the Da Vinci Code, which was one of those, and Angels and Demons, both which I said were the ones that were flops. But I personally thought they were really. I love a puzzle or a treasure hunt. So like National Treasure, anything sort of like
National Treasure.
Like that sort of.
I'd read the books before I watched the films.
See, I've never read the book.
I know what I was getting.
I don't have the attention span. I'd love to read the book, but I don't.
But I've just realised something in quite a lot of everyone's kind of favourites as well. Daryl Hannah. Just going to.
For fuck's sake!
But was it?
Oh look,
the film it was a film Backdraft. Now I was adamant. I was adamant I'd seen that film,
wasn't it?
but this is the film that I never saw.
Yes.
There's a film. There was a film back in the day where a bunch of firefighters were, and they had an escaped prisoner burning down a forest, and I thought that was Backdraft. And it wasn't until I went, Backdraft's done by Ron. I've not seen Backdraft. So I've gone back in that and I've watched that film, and that's dropped into my top 5. Yeah. But the one I forget is The Grinch. You forget that he does The Grinch.
So Backdraft is the only film I've ever cried at.
Is it?
Yeah.
You go, we go.
It's the end sequence where they're doing the funeral march.
Okay.
And it's all of the fire precincts all coming out, and they do the camera up. And it was all they said, like, there's a few off, loads of them are off duty and some are on duty, and we've just told the off duty guards to come. And it's like you see that opening, that end scene of all the guards coming through his funeral. And that got me, and I don't know why.
They do that
because but that particular scene was the only one, and that's Backdraft's the only one I've ever cried at.
And then there's some films which I just find good. Like I've enjoyed. I enjoyed The Heart of the Sea. Kind of enjoyed it. It wasn't great, but I enjoyed it. But Frost versus Nixon.
That's good.
I thought that was really
Michael
really good.
Sheen is like amazing in that.
Yeah, and A Beautiful Mind was really good. I enjoyed that with that's the one where he's
it's Russell Crowe.
He's a code breaker, and he ends up going to like the CIA. So there was so many. And I thought back over it. I was like, Apollo 13, Rush, Da Vinci Code, Angels and Demons, and Ransom are the films. Like apart from Backdraft, they're all ones that I bought in the early start of my DVD collection. Boom, boom, boom. When they were expensive, you had to justify.
Yeah, 20 quid a pop.
Yeah, 20 quid a pop. And it was kind of like, but then I wasn't realising it was, these are all Ron Howard. And then I was like, Ron Howard's fucking matey boy from Happy Days, isn't it?
I guess he is, So I had to clock on that a while ago because he did Willow, which is one of my favourites.
Willow, and what was it? Another film that I watched as a kid, which is Far and Away, which was The Ducks.
I love Far and Away. I think that's good.
So the films that I put down for him were Willow, Splash, Cocoon.
I knew you put fucking Splash down.
Daryl Hannah.
Exactly.
But that's another film that my mum and my sister always watched that I didn't realise that. I was like, mate, I do like Splash. But like, I didn't know that I liked Splashes. When you're watching it, you're like, why do I like this film?
Also,
You know,
John Candy.
John Candy.
You missed out Han Solo as well. That's a good movie.
Yeah.
So, do you know what? It actually is pretty good.
I don't mind it. I actually mind it.
I was expecting not a good film, and I ended up.
I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's just one of those guys. The moment I see, like, obviously, I'm hooked when I see a Ridley Scott film, but this one, Ron Howard, is pretty much just for me. You know, I'll go and see a Ridley Scott with everyone. You know, but like a Ron Howard film,
It's a personal.
do you know? I've got no problem. All of them, I'll just watch on my own. But I didn't know Ransom was his one.
I didn't.
No.
Ransom was one of my favourite films
Mel
growing
Gibson.
up as like before. That's the reason why Man on Fire became one of my favourite, because Ransom, it cemented like I like this sort of. Oh shit! Someone's got to get kid now.
No, a
It's
Ransom
not really a
movie.
kid. I've got to get it back. But that sort of
Evil Gary Sinise.
Gary Sinise is
Lieutenant
another one of these
Dan.
characters who go, well, it's got Sinise in.
Yeah, no, because he done a movie with Nicolas Cage called Snake Eyes.
I love that.
And when I saw him in the trailer, it's like, it's clearly him.
Yeah.
It's always Gary Sinise.
Of Mice and Men, I think.
And Mice and Men, he directed that as well, yeah.
Yeah, so like, I mean, he seems to use, well, obviously Sinise is in Apollo 13, and it's like, he kind of uses, but it's his story it's the rivalry and hunt, it's the mission in Apollo 13, there's always a story for me.
There's
He
the
tends to
brotherhood
do-
of Backdraft.
He tends to do now for true, because I love a true story. Anything, I see a disaster, I'm like, I'll wait for the film. You know, bring on Ron Howard in the film.
He does do them well.
Yeah, you know, so it's kind of a I'm instantly looking out for his sort of films. Yeah, so I can't really talk too much about it, but yeah, the Inferno I didn't like. I didn't realise he did. It was the third one of the Da Vinci Code. It was a bit. It was really wank.
Again, I like Mario. I've read the books, so
Yeah, but I bet they're really good.
Nice. Right. My number one has been mentioned, but it's not a clash.
hey.
So my number one is the Korean director Bong Joon-ho.
I wondered if it might be.
I fucking love this guy. Everyone who knows me, I've mentioned the podcast 100 times. I love Korean cinema. This man, he's pretty much got every great movie bar one.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, because Netflix got involved with it. But I'll just go through them quickly. So Memories of Murder, for example, is one of my favourite thrillers of all time.
Yes,
based on the 1980s serial killer that happened in Korea. I don't want to go too much in it because that movie is an experience. You need to sit through that and just be like, wow, especially, God, that fucking ending. Anyway, and obviously went to straight after that. We've gone through a thriller to a monster movie called Host, which is essentially about
Again, very good.
about a monster that attacks Korea, but also kidnaps a child at the same time.
I've
and
been
obviously,
trying to work out what that was. Is that the one where she just hides in the? Yeah, I've seen that. I bought that.
that's the one, yeah.
I've
But it's
owned
all
that for
about the
years.
dad trying to find her as
Yeah.
well, and then obviously you've got the monster as well in that. And then after that, he
sick.
did the fantastic film, which I believe was the film that got you into Korean movies, which is called Mother, which is about a mother who has a disabled child who is framed for murder, and it's trying to figure out whether this child or kid, because he's not a kid, he's like you know, like a full-grown adult, if you will. But did he actually create this murder? Did he do this? And the thing with that film is that as it goes along, when you suss something out, something else just twisted over. And there's this perfect shot. It's not a spoiler, but there's this shot where, I think it's that person. And what he does is he goes back and then just in that very exact frame of a shot, it's like two doors between one another down an alleyway. And if you look closely, there's someone looking back through that door. And could that be the killer, or is that someone? And it's just fantastically done. And again, an ending. Oh my God, you need to watch it. Straight after that, we got Snowpiercer, which stars Captain America.
Yeah.
If everyone's seen it, it's obviously about the world of population all living on one train. Poverty is all at the back, rich people all at the front.
Is that the Netflix one, or is it?
No, it was a movie first, and then the
movie
show
first,
got made afterwards.
Yeah.
Watch the show, fantastic.
Based on a comic book as well.
Is it a comic book? I thought it was. I wasn't sure if it was or not.
I was umming and ahhing about Snowpiercer, so I'll give that a go then.
And then we've got the shit one, which obviously Netflix got involved with, which is called Okja. Don't watch it. It's a terrible movie. But then his Academy Award winner, Parasite, is a phenomenal film. If you've not watched it, please watch it. It is one of those films, again, where it's kind of like, this is a drama, and then next minute it turns into something else completely different. It is just where we're going with this now. It's, oh my God.
That's the Koreans for you.
It's
though.
it's played out so well.
Nothing is plain. You know, you think you've worked it out all out, and you think, oh, you feel really clever, but it twists all the way through, and to the end when you're like, I did not see any of that.
No, but then it's got like slight bits of comedy in it as well. It's just a bit of everything in that movie, and it's why it's worth the Oscar that it won. And then obviously his new film now, which is meant to be this year, it might be next year now. No one knows what it's about. It's called Mickey 17, and it's going to be a sci-fi space movie with Batman himself, Robert Pattinson. Sign me the fuck up! Yeah. I can't wait. That's going to be awesome. But that's my number one. That's the reason why he's my number one. Yeah. Again, all great movies apart from one, because I couldn't find a director with every movie I liked. So he is one of my favourites and had to be number one.
It's hard to get a very
good pick.
One to get like a flawless.
I don't think it's possible.
It's not possible. No. It's not possible. Damn you, Netflix! He would have been a straight streak.
Yeah.
But that's it, guys. We've got some damn good picks there. It wasn't as many clashes as I thought there was going to be. In honesty,
I thought there was going to be more.
But anyone got honourable mentions quickly?
Oh, yes. Crikey, yeah.
Okay.
Fincher.
Yeah. David Fincher,
Gotta
of
be
course.
Fincher. The ones I've got on here are...
Neil Blomkamp.
Yep, Blomkamp. Sam Mendes.
Yep.
Aronofsky.
Catherine Bigelow.
And Guy Ritchie.
Oh,
yeah.
Batfleck.
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
I like
Gone Baby Gone's awesome, dude.
Gone Baby Gone. Argo.
Yeah, well,
and
good.
I like Air. I thought it was good.
Air is
I still
really
haven't seen
good.
Air yet.
Air is
Again,
so good.
Another little story of a product. It's a story of the.
It's the same as the McDonald's one.
Founder
is so good.
I can't tell you how many.
Be.
I shouldn't have watched that film as many times as I should.
Yeah.
That and Saving Mr. Banks. Like I can't.
They're
not that good for me to watch over and over.
Founder doesn't deserve to be as good as it is, but Air is definitely it's so good, and it brings those two back together again so well.
The Founder is really anything with Keaton as well.
Peter Jackson. I've gone back to the Hobbit. I've watched the 3 Hobbit films, and now I'm going to do the Lord of the Rings again now.
And of course, Brain Dead.
Pardon?
Brain Dead.
Brain Dead's the best movie he's ever made. Brain Dead. Come at me.
Zingaya.
I haven't seen that. So.
Zingaya, you've got the bait.
Again, I went rather route one with this, but I'm sticking George Lucas on there purely for Star Wars.
Yep.
But without him, you wouldn't have also had Indy.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Exactly,
yeah.
And also, you wouldn't have got Spielberg directing Indy.
Yeah. And,
exactly,
although he didn't actually direct it, he produced it, you wouldn't have Howard the Duck.
Oh!
Just saying.
Oh!
I still rate that film. I don't care what anyone says.
Just saying.
It's highly underrated, that
80s
film.
Cameron. 80s John Cameron.
80s John Cameron, okay.
Sorry.
I'm forgetting his name. He done so many. He done RoboCop.
Paul Verhoeven.
Paul Verhoeven. Oh, yeah, definitely. Francis Ford Coppola.
Yeah.
Edgar Wright.
Yes.
I mean, I one of my most favourite films of all time is Hot Fuzz.
I put Matthew Vaughn in there as well.
Oh, Matthew Vaughn. Yeah.
Purely for Kick-Ass and what was the other one? The one with Layer Cake.
Matthew Vaughn, yeah.
I really like Nick Love. Anything like Football Factory, Green Street.
Right. Fuck off! Are you serious?
Honestly, and I'm looking forward to the literally Nick Love.
Are you legit?
Off the back of what you
mentioned. Honourable mention.
All right, okay.
Guy Ritchie.
Guy Ritchie.
But I'm putting Guy Ritchie in there. Yeah, Lock, Stock, yes, Snatch.
You've got to put Besson on there as well, and haven't you?
Oh, Guy Ritchie.
Besson.
How did I not get Guy Ritchie?
You've got to put him on there. I mean, you're right with. I forget the name of the film now.
Leon.
Yeah, so good.
Come on, it's a fantastic movie.
Natalie Portman.
Gary Oldman's character.
Yeah. Like all of it.
He was
so
a great
good.
villain. Guy Ritchie, I chose him.
I like Guy Ritchie
for Sherlock Holmes because it was totally out. You wouldn't. It came genuinely because I love Robert Downey Jr. I love.
Yeah. I'm just glad you didn't put down for Aladdin.
No, Sherlock's brilliant.
Yeah. Sherlock. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a bit like you. I like a good gangster film, but I prefer Guy Ritchie's gangster version.
My cousin's one of the pikeys in Snatch.
He's
one of the little shitbags trying to steal the wing mirror.
Oh, really?
You know, when he goes, fucking hate Pikey. He's like fucking trying to steal the wing mirror.
And Guy Ritchie's new film, again, he's doing a war film now. He's gone away from that. And I read that book. I read the book for that a long time ago. And talking of that, you know, the computer games. Is it Company of Heroes? PC game? Or, well, computer game. Did you ever play it now?
Yes. Yeah, no, the video game. Sorry.
Yeah, you look at all the characters in that, and they're the same characters that are in this film.
Oh, okay.
They basically, it was a book written a long time ago,
Okay.
and
Based on a true story, allegedly, as well. But it's got Reacher in it, Jack Reacher, Alan Richman,
Yeah,
I'll throw him out there. Shyamalan.
Henry Cavill.
that's
M. Night Shyamalan?
Shyamalan.
Yeah, Shyamalan. He's good, but he's
What
not
a twist.
He's good, but the thing is, he's not. He hasn't made an awful lot of films.
That's why he's a Shyamalan.
But again, he's a shimmer.
Shimmer Man. Yeah.
But yeah, so
Very quickly, then I'll just do Robert Zemeckis,
yes.
Oh, of course.
Sam Raimi.
Oh, how can we not put?
I've could put Wes Craven because I love the Scream franchise, so Wes is going on there.
Yeah.
John Carpenter.
Yeah, of course.
We've had J.J. Abrams. Coen Brothers. The Big Lebowski. Come on, it's amazing.
Come on.
I'm putting Tim Burton on here because of Batman.
I
At the end of the
very
day,
nearly put
can't.
him on.
And take him off again for
Yeah.
Sweeney Todd.
And everything else.
Yeah.
Sweeney Todd's
I like
underrated.
Sweeney Todd's not too bad. Ivan Reitman for Ghostbusters.
Yes.
Yeah.
Danny Boyle because I love Sunshine. I think that's one of my
28
great
Days Later.
And
I
28
watched
Days
that the
Later
other
as
day
well.
for the first time.
Yeah.
First time ever, and I loved it.
What's that? 20 Days
Sunshine.
Later? Oh,
No, I've
Sunshine's
never seen
amazing.
it before.
Chris Evans' best performance of all time is in Sunshine.
Because I watched The Martians, it goes, did you see Ghost on Mars? And I was like, no, let's watch that. And then it was like, did you see Sunshine?
Sunshine.
And I went, no, let's.
Sunshine's fucking awesome. You can't have a disaster movie without Roland Emmerich.
Yeah.
This is true.
And a lot of people don't like him. You either love him or hate him. I put Zack Snyder on there as well.
Yeah.
I really thought you were going to say Michael Bay.
No.
But Michael Bay.
Jerry
it's,
Bruckheimer. Yeah.
My The Rock is like pretty much my favourite film of all time.
Oh, really?
And I can't stand Michael Bay. I'm torn between like my favourite film and my director. Like, who I
Nothing's
don't.
right.
See, I don't. You see, this is the thing. See, I don't.
I need to have that as a soundbite. Seriously.
Actor, The Rock. I don't rate him. And John Cena, I don't rate him either. And everyone goes fucking mad for him.
The Rock, not so bad.
But they
Cena.
don't do it for me. If they're in the film that I like, that's fine. But I wouldn't go and see them just because they're in it.
Put them in the bracket of Stallone and Arnie of their day. That's who they are now.
It's the thing.
This is they are the blockbuster action heroes of their time. And you haven't.
We can put it like that, yeah.
And Jason Statham is now knocked down to your kind of Jean-Claude Van Damme, and you'll watch a film with them in because they are the action heroes. They've dropped down to that kind of level.
Yeah, no, actually, when you put it like that, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Nice. Well, ended there, guys. So, guys, if you like what you listen to, follow us on Facebook at the M.T.V.B podcast, or on TikTok at M.T.V. Podcast 197, or on Instagram at M.T.V. Podcast. I'm joined by
H Man with two lists.
And JK47.
Super Mario.
Chris.
and your host, that man, as always, guys. Thank you so much for doing that episode and coming back for season 8.
Thank you for having us,
soon,
Anne.
guys.